Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican, please, verbal floppy.
That's literally not true.
Is that correct?
I didn't ask you to interrupt me. Oh, for crumb's sake.
Good morning, welcome. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. A little bit late, but I'm here. Promise. I'm in the wrong corner. I'm going to fix that here. Just like that. All right, good morning. Happy Thursday. Podcast Thursday. Sounds like you're in a stadium. I know this is like, the mic is hot. I'm trying to figure out why. Is that any better? Test 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Is anyone else's sound off or just bite me's? Testing 1, 2. Check 1, 2. I realize you can hear me, but does it sound weird? Does it sound different? Great sound. Sounds great to you. Okay, bite me. It's just yours. You got to refresh. Just refresh. It's all on your end. All right. Welcome. We're on day 3 of the Karen Reed trial, and for those that missed out, last night I was on with Josh Ritter from Courtroom Confidential, and we talked a lot about the Karen Reed trial. Talked a little bit about the Lori Vallow trial as well. I saw many of you over there in the comments. Thank you very much for going and visiting his channel and for clicking the like, subscribe, and everything else. Great friend. Love being over there and working with him. He's amazing. The whole team is fantastic. So a lot of fun over there. The picture looks exceptionally sharp this morning. Something new, or just cleaned my glasses? Well, let me look. It's actually a little out. It's focused on you can see my goatee from the side. I need to focus here. This is going to be a little weird. Hang on 1 second. Is that a little better? Now it's focused more on my desk, and it barely keeps the can of Raid in view. I should probably rotate it. If Raid would sponsor the show, I would rotate it to show their logo, but they're not a sponsor yet. So it's all good. All right, where are we at? Let's see. I missed a couple things. We've got birthdays this morning. Obviously, we need to do that. Day 2 on title. What? Chat not on screen. I thought I changed that. It definitely says day 2. You're right. I changed part 2 to part 1 and left. Okay, updated the title. Thank you very much for that. Camila Juliana.
Happy birthday.
Camila Juliana Gonzalez. Sorry. I wanted to say W for the J. Thank you. Big shout out, first of all, before we go too far, to chat not on screen, Allison Gunnell. Allison, congratulations. You were first in chat this morning. The privilege, the honor of being first in chat is afforded to just one person with each live stream. And today that was you. You were the very first person in chat. It was quiet before you came here, before you said anything. But you did. You came here. You did talk. And now we're going to punish you. For breaking the silence. We're sentencing you to internet ownership. Yes, you're responsible for everything IP related worldwide until we go live again. So good luck, good riddance, and all that. Let's see. I got a phone call this morning. Let's see. What? Low battery. Why didn't I? Apparently, I don't know how to charge my phone overnight. Okay. I will say, I was up at, for one reason or another, I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I know at least one of my mods was up as well. And she's up now. I'm not gonna point out who it was, but one of them was up commenting on videos and stuff. Just saying, get some sleep. And I might have also been texting a few people. All right, Josh Hutchings comes with a birthday list. Says here we have Krista OG, Katie Bug, Leslie, pronounced Leslie, thank you, Lacey, Jonathan, and Charlie all celebrate a birthday today, so we're going to celebrate with them by singing to them, and it goes like this. All of us stand up, take a deep breath, shoulders back, project your voice to the back of the room, blend your voice with your neighbor, warm up with me, if you will. La 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 la. There we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Krista OG, Katie Bug, Leslie, Lacey, Jonathan, and Charlie. Happy birthday to you. And a happy heavenly birthday to John for Eileen. Thank you. Happy birthday to John. All right. To everyone who's celebrating their birthday today, happy birthday. I realize there are a million places you could be, a million people you could have been with, but you chosen to be here with us. The privilege, the pleasure, the honor is ours. Hopefully we can turn some of the joy that you have brought us and we can turn it to you. Make your day a little more specialer. Begin by helping yourself to free pancakes at Denny's, IHOP Village Inn, Waffle House, McDonald's, Tammy Dunlap's house, Bob Evans, and Andy's Grill. What a great... Did Mockingbird again? No. What a great way to start your day. Right?
Happy
Free
birthday.
pancakes.
You look good.
Thank you, Judge Fleischer. They do look good. I'm just enjoying the dancing and the music. Little dad dancing there with the finger snaps. Yesterday, my son was dancing in the kitchen. I did not give him his moves. Oh, we need to add Peyton? We'll add Peyton. Here we go. One verse just for Peyton. You ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Peyton. Happy birthday to you. Okay, all right, this is the last verse. Everyone sit down. Help me finish the song off right with a big air drum solo. You can actually play into it, too. Like that. I shouldn't have done the do-do-do-do-do-do's over the song, but, you know, you get the idea. I was helping you with the training. Nailed it, says 80s Music Man. Karen Wood says, I love this birthday vibe. G'day, y'all. My phone's ringing. That's a problem because it's also charging. So hang on. Let me unplug. It's Amber. Hang on. There we go. Oh, those are my headphones. Oh, that's wrong. Amber, wait. Don't go anywhere. I answered. I have to take this plug, put it on over here because, hey, yay, Apple. Right there. Put that one up. Now we're ready. Amber, are you there?
I'm here. Are you there?
Well, I was here the whole time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Now, what did I allegedly get called out for doing? I was misbehaving in mod chat.
Nothing.
I didn't do nothing.
I didn't call you out by name. I was talking about a mod, and I might have highlighted one of your comments at the same time. I think it was purely coincidental. I didn't. What time did you go to bed last night?
And, I don't know. It was dark.
Mm-hmm. Was it also early? Like, I don't know, 2-ish?
I mean, depends on your concept of early.
Mm-hmm. I happen to know you're in the same time zone because you're just one state north of me. And I, because I had imbibed in the water a little too much last night. Had to get up at 2 a.m. That's all you need to know. And I knew it was 2 a.m. because I looked at my phone. And when I looked at my phone, I thought, let me just check and see, make sure I haven't missed any calls or messages. And I checked, and I started emailing or texting back and forth with Allie B from Tennessee, who was also awake at that hour, and she was commenting about some stuff. Sent me some pictures, and I was reading those. And then mid that, I get a notification just now that Calypson's Vixen had just commented on one of your YouTube videos. I'm like, busted.
Now, can you prove that it was me?
Mm-hmm. I just did. That evidence would stand up in court. I could subpoena YouTube for your IP address.
But I have all sorts of counter evidence saying that my husband and my kid are always on my account too. So how do you know? Beyond reasonable doubt.
In this case, past performance is indicative of future actions. So
it was a butt comment.
It was a butt comment. It happens all the time. That's what when you fall asleep on your phone, it starts leaving comments on people's YouTube pages. No, that's all. I just outed you for being up late. I was up as well. So. All right.
Sorry, I had to call and call you out for calling me out.
Well, feel free to leave more butt comments. It actually helps the algorithm. So.
Well, that's kind of what I was trying to do, was tell the algorithm.
I appreciate it.
I could have left that comment hours prior to your.
You know what I didn't do? I didn't read. Let's go back and read it together. Let's see.
Oh my!
What did Amber say? A talented Amber. What did she comment last night?
I really hope there's no typos that hour.
Latest comments. Oh, look. Amber's on the list. All right. Let's see. We've got a couple this morning. Hang on. I need to find it. A couple of you are up. Why is this not refreshed? Hang on.
Yeah, why don't you call them out? I was not alone.
It's not sorting it by time. Like some of them are 2 days ago and some of them were 11 hours ago. So I have to see if you mentioned me, maybe.
Likely story.
Confidential.
I just have to say, for the record, Rebecca's been cracking me and Samantha up today because she's talking to herself on both accounts.
All right, there it is. Calypson's Vixen, 5 hours ago. Did Brennan at 58? You left a timestamp. Okay. Did Brennan at 58:50 just admit the investigators failed to secure an alleged murder weapon, failed to document in writing description, photos/drawing about the alleged murder weapon? If of all butt comments that have ever been left, that one has the fewest typos and the most technical information ever. I'm going to like it.
And was just liked by Recovery Addict.
Tell you, YouTube tells me everything. So anyway, hope you get some sleep sometime today, probably during the show. So
at least you know I'm actually going back to do rewatch when I say I'm going back to rewatch what I missed.
I always thought you were just going somewhere else, but you're like, hey guys, I'm gonna go rewatch the show. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna kick things off. Amber, thank you very much. Have a
no problem. Have a good day, y'all.
Yep.
Glad I could start with a couple laughs.
We'll see you. Bye.
Bye.
Ma's Handmade Soap says, all right, I'll have what Amber's having. Yes. It's a great way to start the day. Sleep texting is a thing, says Purple Coconut. All right. Let's see. That's some impressive butt. There's talent there. There's talent. I mean, that's not a beginner butt dialer for sure. Yes. So Amber, just so you know, don't be sort of grouchy in chat this afternoon because Amber might be a little short on sleep, and although she's really happy this morning, might get a little feisty in the afternoon when nap time rolls around. So So be nice, or Amber just might ban you or something. All right, welcome. She's great. Katie Bug says, God has blessed me so much. Happy birthday, by the way. Thankful for my parents and siblings, and my husband and son. No greater gift than family and friends. That's true. May everyone in chat have an awesome day. Happy birthday, Katie Bug. Thanks for sharing those amazing sentiments with us as well. Very, very true. Speaking of amazing sentiments, there's a couple people who need to be recognized because they're amazing. And a couple comments that need to get over as well. Kelly H. gifted a membership. First thing, thank you very much, Kelly. Princess Buttercup stole the mom's credit card and has been super chatting. Thank you, our favorite pup. We appreciate that. Princess Buttercup also wants his own emoji, please. Rough. Rebecca comes in and says, Princess Buttercup, knock it off and stop using my credit card, although your own emoji would be pretty cool, right, Recovery Addict? And Princess Buttercup replies back, will you all put your paw print on a petition to get me an emoji? Maybe Recovery Addict will do a poll. I'm campaigning for a mascot emoji. Let me tell you how this works. Maybe a paw print emoji. There was a time period, I think during the manhunt up in PA. There was a time period when the channel exploded in memberships. I mean, beyond anything I have seen since. It exploded. These were days where we were getting 75,000 watch hours on a single live stream. Normally is 12 or so in a day. It exploded. Membership went off the chart. I built emojis because YouTube allows channels to build emojis based on how many members, paying members there are on the channel, either gifted or not. I built emojis based on that. I expanded out, used everything they allowed me to. And then the membership, once that peak from the manhunt died down in the membership, YouTube then claws them back. But if you've already made something, you can keep it. If you try to change it or re-erase it and put something else in there, like, nope, you don't qualify for that many emojis anymore. I can't change emojis. For us to get more emojis, which I'd love to do, we will have to get back to the Cavalcante Manhunt level of membership, which would be fantastic for the channel financially, but it's going to be a while. We'll have to hit about, 100,000 subscribers before that happens. So I hear the petition. My hands are tied. YouTube ties my hands. Unless you want to get rid of an emoji, I might be able to change one out by updating the bitmap attached to it without losing it. So Sherry Smith, member for 19 months. Welcome to the gallery. Thank you very much, Rihanna. Rihanna, member for 15 months, says, love RA in this community. So thankful I found y'all. I'm grateful you did as well. It wouldn't be the same without you. 15 months. Congratulations. Peter Ware, member for 24 months. Hit that big 2-4 OG. Woohoo. I'm pink / magenta. Depends on how you view it. Peter, looks great on you. Looks absolutely fabulous. Rihanna also gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Rihanna, for your generosity. Nurse for God gifted 5 memberships. Wow. Haley's Comet, member for 16 months. Says, morning to the crime junkies. That's all of y'all, in case you didn't know. Congratulations on 16. Jennifer Cockfield gifted a membership. Thank you for your generosity. People are turning green, avoiding slow mode, and getting access to the emojis all in one fell swoop. Who is volunteering to be manhunted, said Vicky. Let's do this. Let's get this thing done. This is my emoji for the day. It's the vacuum. Selena, that's great. Wonderful. Thanks for being here, Selena. Appreciate you. Katie Bug gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Katie Bug. Thank you. Great people receiving these all around. Let's see, Pantuflay. My favorite merch is my prison escape hoodie. I like that as well. It's bright orange. I think it's perfect. That was from the Manhunt as well. Smofy O'Leary says, Manhunt, that's when I found this channel. I've been trying to remember when it was. It was the Cavalcante Manhunt. It was amazing. The guy who spider crawled up the prison wall, jumped the fence and ran, and then hid in the backyard, basically, for, 13 days. It seemed like forever. But amazing times for sure. Susan Basterk, member for 16 months, says, what was happening 16 months ago? I can't remember the trial I joined at. We'll have to go back and check the playlist to see what that was. Michelle Marcus, member for 19 months. Welcome to the gallery. I've actually been here longer than 19 months, but I was lurking. Best group ever. Guess what? If you're over 19 months, that makes you an OG. OG. Welcome, Michelle. Let's see. I lost so much sleep watching that manhunt, says Debbie. Whoa, wait, what says Blair? What's happening? I don't know. We're just having some fun. We're getting ready for court to start. This is day 3. And let's do a quick just recap in case for some reason in case I forgot that's still available. You can still buy your prison escape hoodie right there. It's bright orange. I think there's actually 2 versions. But there's a bright orange one, which is what my kids like. They're the one that they wear that one. Let's go over what happened so far. Day 1, we have 2. First of all, we covered the openings on Canton Content. I want to say Canton Confidential. Oh my goodness, the openings from Canton on Courtroom Confidential last night. Too many C words altogether. But we covered those. And so if you want to rehash what I thought about those, what Josh thought about those, I'd go back and watch the Wednesday Night Live from last night. That was the first thing we talked about. Day 1, the Commonwealth presents. We've got a call from overseas. We have to take this one.
Angela.
Hello, Angela. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing good. I promise I'll be brief, but I have to say something that EDB actually reminded me of her story.
Yes.
That actually should be in the membership chat, but it's too long to say it there. It's about this trial concretely, but actually all about all other trials that we follow. We all have friends, but it's hard to talk to our friends who are not really in true crime world, especially like this trial. And then we have community like you and true crime community where we can talk openly about this case, not only this case, but any case that we follow.
Right.
So I just wanted to thank you.
Yeah, I love being able to have conversations with y'all. I love getting challenged in my opinions and learning from you and having Angela, you bring in some great questions, especially with your scientific background and understanding of that entire process. I appreciate everything you bring to the conversation. It wouldn't be the same without you. So thank you as well.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Thank
you. Bye-bye.
Angela's awesome. Local scientist. Let's see. Don't forget Danny on Direct. There are so many great creators. If you start listing them, you'll miss out. And I realize some of you might not like the style. Some of you don't like my style. That's great. That's fine. There's some other great creators out there that are doing some similar work with similar content, so you can still enjoy everything without me in the corner. That's all right. But I like to often, go and watch. My wife likes to watch Lawyer Lee and see what's up with her, and likes to go. I like to go to people like Danny on Direct, to Melanie Little, to Kurt on. Just on a rehash of what the legal definitions mean and what a specific legal argument, why it's so significant. Having the analysis from a lawyer, somebody who's trained and licensed in that area is very insightful sometimes. So I love that there's a lot of different places we could go and enjoy content. And you can't beat Brandy for the charts, and all the Grizzlies out there know what a deep dive actually should look like. So there's great stuff out there.
22117 Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
All right, so I was told counsel wanted to see me.
Uh-oh.
Good morning, Your Honor. Yes,
Good morning.
I just have one brief issue I want to raise for the court.
Okay.
I wanted to confirm whether experts in this case are permitted to watch testimony in order to prepare for rebuttal. We've asked for that.
For rebuttal, like post? For responding, okay.
In our case, in chief, for both sides.
Okay. What's your position? Ms. Little, you want to?
Yes, we would.
All right. Mr. Brennan, is there any reason not to?
I need to give it some thought. I'm not willing to agree. I'll abide by whatever the court thinks is fair.
So why don't you think about it? We'll address it later today. Okay, there's no expert testimony today, right?
There's not.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, sure. Is that it? Ready to bring the jury in?
That's all.
You wanted a ruling on the clip from yesterday?
I did.
All right, you can play it.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll take a quick break.
All right, so there's 2 quick rulings. Well, one partial ruling that's going to come a little bit later. The exclusion rule is in effect in this trial, meaning that witnesses who are on the list are not allowed to listen to other witnesses' testimony unless they're an exception made, like in the case of Turtle Boy or the other reporter whose name I can't remember. Voss? Gretchen? Is it Gretchen? Those exceptions. And just now, normally we hear that experts are excluded from that, but apparently that was not handled before trial. And so Ms. Little raised the issue with the judge now, saying, hey, we'd like our experts to listen to testimony, specifically other expert testimony, because they rebut and address issues that the opposing expert brings up. The state did not agree to that. So that's interesting. You would think that for their rebuttal case, which I'm sure they're going to bring on, they would want their expert to be able to listen to what the defense expert said. It seems to be beneficial to both sides to allow that, but he, being a bit of a stick in the mud there, says, I can't agree to that. I'll give it some thought. I think he'll come around. I think he really will. That seems like a no-brainer, and it's pretty much standard practice in every other trial across the country when it comes to experts. So, all right. That's not what we need. We'll get that off the screen here in just a second. Let me fix this. I need one more downstream key. Here's what I need. There we go. So siren counter's up to 34, but we're going to give it one more because we got another one from the judge first thing this morning. So 35 is the count now. All right. Sherry Moyer says, hi there, new sub. Great channel. Love your voice and work. Are you in recovery? Always. Yes, but not for what is commonly thought of as recovery. It's a computer. I am a computer gaming addict. There's a long story there. But if you stick around, we'll tell it sometime and let you know. I'm addicted to other things, but some of them I'm trying to break and some I'm not. So, for instance, I like metal detecting. You could say I'm addicted to that. But that's not a habit I want to break. Let's see. Queen Olive, member for 27 months. Queen Olive Ruthan, congratulations. That looks absolutely amazing. One of our OGs as well. Now as a computer streaming addict, and we're all here for it. Yes, I think there are healthy addictions and unhealthy addictions. And in my case, when it came to computer gaming, it definitely veered far into the unhealthy category. Looks like the jury might be in. Get ready to be called to order. Green-eyed cat, good to see you.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. All persons having anything to do before the Honorable Beverly Cannoni, the Justice of the Superior Court, now holding in Dedham within and for the County of Norfolk. Draw near, give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This court is in session. Please be seated.
Congratulations,
22-117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
All right. Good morning again, counsel. Good morning, Ms. Reed. Good morning, jurors. I have to ask you those same three questions. Were you all able to follow the instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since we were here yesterday? Yes. Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Were you also able to follow the instructions and refrain from doing any independent research or investigation into this case? Yes. Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Did anyone happen to see, hear, and read anything about this case since we left here yesterday?
I did.
Everyone said no or shook their heads. Thank you very much. Can we bring Mr. Whitman back in, please? Ms. Gianetti, you can step up to the podium.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Those curtains are fresh off Amazon, just out of the package. Maybe a little humidity in the room, a little bit of heat. They might just iron themselves.
Sir, I'll remind you, you're still under oath. Thank you.
This should be Daniel Whitley from the fire department.
Yes.
Mr.
Mr. Whitley, yesterday you testified that when Karen Reed was brought to the hospital, she didn't want to get into a hospital Johnny and she didn't want to give a urine sample. Do you recall that testimony?
I do.
It was clear to you that her reluctance to cooperate at that time was because she very much wanted to check on John's progress and status at the hospital, correct?
No, I don't believe that to be the case.
Well, you testified before the grand jury regarding this matter 3 years ago, didn't you?
I don't believe I said that she was reluctant.
I didn't ask you that question. You testified before the grand jury 3 years ago, didn't you?
I testified before the grand jury 3 years ago.
You were under oath then, as you're under oath today, correct?
Correct.
You swore to tell the truth.
I am telling the truth.
You swore to tell the truth in 2022 before the grand jury, did you not?
I did.
That was less than 3 months after you brought Karen Reed to the hospital, didn't you?
Yeah.
And your memory of what happened at the hospital was very good in April of 2022, right?
As good as today?
Your memory in April of 2022 was very good, wasn't it?
It was very good as it is today.
Okay, so you want to add the as it is today, despite the fact that you weren't asked that question. Is that right?
Objection.
Sustained.
All right. When questioned by Mr. Lally at the grand jury, you were asked the following question. So what, if any, interaction did you have with her, meaning Ms. Reed, at the hospital once you were there? You remember that question, right?
I do.
And your answer was, so after that, I helped escort her down to, they call it the psych hallway, where they have rooms set up for psychiatric patients for their evaluation. And then she was unhappy that she wasn't able to see him, meaning John. And she kept trying to. She didn't want to get into a hospital Johnny. She didn't want to, I believe, give a urine sample. She was not, the nurses were asking her to do certain things that every patient has to do, and she was not cooperating with them. Do you remember that answer?
I do.
So 3 years ago, when you testified about this issue of giving a urine sample, you testified under oath that you believed that she didn't want to give a urine sample, correct?
Correct.
Yesterday, 3 years later, you testified with certainty that she didn't want to give them, right?
Yeah, she was giving them a hard time about having to give a urine sample.
Right. No, I'm asking you about your testimony yesterday in contrast to the grand jury, sir. Okay. To the extent that I ask yes or no question, I'd like yes or no answers.
So
okay?
No instructions to the witness, Ms. Giannetti. Ask a question. The witness be
instructed to answer the question yes or no if it calls for a yes or no question. Answer.
Answer the question that's asked of you. Okay?
Oh, my goodness.
So go ahead, ask a question.
Wow.
You testified yesterday that she didn't want to give a urine sample without saying it was your belief that she didn't want to give one, correct?
Correct.
In any case, were you aware that when she was asked to give a urine sample that Ms. Reed had gotten her period and did not have a tampon?
I was aware she was on her period, yes.
You're also aware that when somebody is brought to the hospital for a Section 12, they have no privacy. Isn't that right?
They have medical privacy. Either the tech or the nurse would be with the patient at all times.
Okay. With them at all times, observing them at all times, correct?
So they wouldn't be, she wasn't in like a hallway open to the public.
Understood, sir. But she also, when I said privacy, what I was asking is, she was not allowed to go to the bathroom alone to give a urine sample, correct?
She was a psychiatric patient.
Right. So she would have to use the bathroom in front of hospital personnel or some medical personnel with people watching her while she was on her period with no tampon, correct?
I would understand that to be true.
All right. And you're aware that she did cooperate and eventually give a blood sample as well, correct?
I'm not aware of a blood sample, but urine sample, yes.
She did give the urine sample.
Correct.
Right. Now, in your testimony yesterday, you discussed the topic of your memory of what Karen Reed may have asked you about John surviving in the snow with light clothing. You remember those questions?
I remember asking about not having a jacket, correct?
Now, starting at the end of the day, when I cross-examined you yesterday, I asked you about that topic, and I said to you, you mentioned something about hypothermia, that you assumed you may have been dealing with a hypothermia situation. And your answer was, well, she said that he had been out in the snow without a jacket for many hours. Correct?
Correct.
But before I cross-examined you at the end of the day yesterday, you previously testified 3 times about this topic. Correct?
I believe it would be the grand jury and the previous trial.
Right. And direct examination when Mr. Brennan was asking you questions before I stood up. Correct?
Okay, yes.
Let's start with the first time you testified about this topic back in 2022. That was, again, less than 3 months after you had a conversation with Ms. Reed at the scene on January 29th. Correct?
Correct.
Her statements and questions to you at the scene were fresh in your mind in April of 2022, correct?
Correct.
In April of 2022, before the grand jury, Mr. Lally asked you, quote, what, if any, questions did she ask you regarding hypothermia? Do you remember that question?
I do.
Your answer was, she was just wondering if he could have survived outside in the cold even though he didn't have a jacket on. Do you remember giving that answer?
I do.
Nowhere in that answer, in 2022, less than 3 months after these events, do you attribute the words, quote, many hours, end quote, in the snow to Ms. Reed, correct?
Yes, I was not.
I'm not asking for an explanation, sir. I'm asking for an answer.
All right, so he was answering you, Mr. Yannetti.
My question called for a yes or no answer. Nowhere in your answer in 2022 do you attribute the words many hours in the snow to Ms. Reed? Yes or no?
No, I did not say that at that point.
Nowhere in your answer in 2022 do you testify that Ms. Reed told you he had actually been in the snow for many hours, correct?
She did. At that.
Sir, I'm asking you about your testimony.
I object.
So let him answer the question.
Let me ask it again. Nowhere in your answer in 2022 did you testify that Ms. Reed told you he had actually been in the snow for many hours, correct?
In 2022, I testified that
big sigh.
I was just told to be brief and give generalizations. She quantified many hours in the snow when we were in back of the
let me try this again,
so,
sir.
Mr. Yannetti, you're just saying 2022. Get to a date and a place.
Yes. April of 2022, okay, before the grand jury. My question again, and I'm still seeking a yes or no answer from you, okay? Nowhere in your answer in April of 2022, before the grand jury, did you testify under oath that Ms. Reed told you that John had actually been in the snow for many hours, correct?
Not in 2022 of April, no.
Okay. The next time you testified under oath was last year in 2024, correct?
Correct.
During that testimony, Mr. Lally asked you, oh, by the way, so 2022 is no mention of many hours, right?
I did not, and I was told to be brief on the grand jury stand.
But again, no mention of many hours in 2022. Okay. Now, 2024, last year, Mr. Lally asked you, so Firefighter Whitley, at some point, specific to your conversations with the defendant, Ms. Reed, can you describe sort of her demeanor or any observations you made in relation to that as you were speaking with her? And your answer was, yes, she was very upset. She kept asking if there was any chance. She kept asking us if we knew if the person Ambulance 1 had transported was alive or dead, and we could not speak to that. She asked if somebody could be alive in the snow without a jacket for many hours, correct?
Correct.
So 2022, there was no mention of many hours. 2024, over time, now that's the first time that you mention the words many hours in your testimony regarding this case, correct?
Correct.
All right. And when you testified last year, you testified still that she was asking you a question about surviving in the snow, correct?
Correct.
So then we come to yesterday on direct examination. Do you recall that Mr. Brennan yesterday asked you, before you left, were you having any conversations with the defendant, and you answered yes? Recall that yesterday?
Is that at the hospital?
I'm asking you yesterday, do you recall Mr. Brennan asking you, before you left essentially the scene, were you having any conversations with the defendant, and your answer was yes?
You're talking about, Lee, I'm just trying to make sure we're talking about the same instance. Are we talking about when we left the hospital or when we left Fairview Road?
When you were at Fairview Road, leaving Fairview Road. We're talking about the same subject of what Ms. Reed supposedly told you or asked you. Okay? Mr. Brennan went into that with you.
So on the way to, you're talking on the way to the hospital in terms of left. When we left.
Well, before you left. He meant before you left the scene.
Okay, no, I'm just trying to clarify.
Again, it's the same conversation, Mr. Whitley. I'm not trying to trick you.
Mr. Yannetti, he just asked for a point of reference. It's clear. Now go.
Understood. And Mr. Brennan said, can you share with the jury what those conversations were about? And your answer was, so we were talking, she was upset. She kept asking if there was any chance her husband could be alive, even sitting outside in the snow without any coat for many hours. Do you recall that answer that you gave yesterday on direct examination?
Yes.
And that was the first time that you mentioned that she said, supposedly, or asked supposedly, about him sitting outside in the snow, correct?
I was just using phrases generally speaking.
Not my question.
I wasn't at that point I was paraphrasing. I was not speaking verbatim to what she said.
Let's try that again. That was the first time that you mentioned that she claimed or asked that he was sitting outside, correct?
It could have been sitting, laying, being.
Let's try it a third time.
So just ask the question, not let's try it.
Sure.
Let's try it.
Was that the first time that you testified under oath that Ms. Reed said or asked about him sitting outside?
Are you asking me to clarify whether she used the word
I'm not asking
sitting?
you to clarify anything. I'm asking you whether that was the first time yesterday during direct examination that you mentioned that she asked about him sitting outside.
I'm sorry. I am very confused because I'm trying to figure out if he was being outside, sitting outside.
I'm asking you about Ms. Reed's statements, sir. That's all I've been asking you about. Her
Okay.
statements to you and your testimony about her statements to you. Was yesterday on direct examination the first time that you testified under oath that Ms. Reed mentions the words sitting outside?
I don't know.
All right.
I'm just using. She might have said laying outside, being outside, outside.
Okay. So when you testified yesterday before this jury,
yes,
that she mentioned the words sitting outside, you're now saying that that might not have been accurate, correct?
It could have been a different word.
Okay. But you didn't say it could have been a different word yesterday. You just left it as sitting outside, correct?
Yeah, that's what I said, sitting.
All right. So now we get from, the grand jury with many hours mentioned to questions about many hours to sitting outside to let's talk about what you said on cross-examination.
I object.
Okay, the objection sustained.
Sure. On cross-examination, your words were, she said he had been out in the snow without a jacket on for many hours, correct?
She had asked if he had been outside, if there was any chance he could be alive, even though he was outside without a jacket for many hours.
So it always was a question, correct?
It was a question.
She never said what you said on cross-examination yesterday, which was she said that he had been out in the snow without a jacket on for many hours. That was not a declarative statement by Ms. Reed, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Was that a declarative statement by Ms. Reed?
She asked if he could be alive without a jacket in the snow for many hours.
So, again, it was a question, sir.
She asked me, and we were just trying to give her hope in terms of telling stories of hypothermic patients that could survive outside in the snow.
Okay, is there any redirect?
I think the judge is going to call a sidebar and tell people to dial it back, specifically Mr. Yannetti. He came out swinging. It seemed like unwarranted initially, but this witness needed a little prodding to get to where he needed to get
called to the grand jury, was the testimony as in-depth and as long as it is in front of this jury?
No, not even close.
When you're recounting your memories of what happened, do you memorize word for word what you've said in the past?
Objection.
As to that form, it's sustained.
When you're recounting the past, do you record your statements personally?
Objection.
I'm going to let that word. Do you record your statements?
No.
Next question.
When you testified in the grand jury, page 90, line 15, and you said the defendant told you, "I'm upset if he dies, I want to die." And then you later testify last year, and you said, "If my husband dies, I want to die." Do you notice the little differences between those phrases?
I do.
Is that you making up words?
No.
Is that you trying to help a case?
Objection.
As to form, that's sustained.
Are you inventing facts?
No.
Sir, when you were recounting what happened that day, are you using your best memory?
Objection.
Sustained.
When you were asked by the defendant about how long, or someone out in the snow without a jacket for many hours, do you remember that conversation with her?
I do.
Where were you during that conversation?
We were in the back of the ambulance.
Do you remember it distinctly?
I remember it distinctly. She was looking at me.
When you tried to give her hope and comfort, and you told her stories about other situations where people, maybe children, have fallen through the ice and had hypothermia, did you have that conversation with her in trying to comfort her?
I did.
Do you remember that conversation?
I do.
Did you necessarily share those conversations with the grand jury?
I don't recall if I did or I didn't.
Did you ever write that in your report?
No.
Is it something you typically put everything in your report?
No, we do not write. Generally, we only write patient complaint, what happened, and what they did, not their opinions or anything like that to what's going on.
Do you have any interest in the outcome of this case?
I do not.
How long have you been a firefighter for?
Since March of 2006, and an EMT since November of 2002.
Over 20 years?
Correct.
You said that you live near Kerry Roberts?
I do.
You've been to a block party for the kids where you've brought the fire engine down?
I do.
Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
When you're at that block party, do you ever step out and have secret meetings with Kerry Roberts trying to corroborate some conspiracy on their behalf?
No.
I'm going to allow that.
No.
Put your career on the line?
Objection.
Sustained.
No further questions.
Any follow-up, Mr. Yannetti?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Firefighter Whitley, you are all set.
Thank you.
You may now go change your clothes if needed. Wow, that was spicy. That was spicy. Lesson for the day is words matter, I believe.
Like to play clip 5, Your Honor?
There's another clip. This is the one they just got permission to play. I think this is going to be this MO for the day.
And his mother leans over the kitchen island and says to me, "I think it looks like he got hit by a car. It looks like he got hit by a car."
All right, who's your next witness, Mr. Brennan?
Next witness is Jean DeMoulis.
We talked on Courtroom Confidential last night about the possibility that Mr. Brennan is trying to bait Karen. This came from a...
Okay.
Well, they've got a quick sidebar. That the prosecutor is trying to bait Karen into testifying because they can't play any of the defense cannot play the rest of that. They can't play the context of that without Karen taking the stand. So is that what he's trying to do, to sort of say you've got to take the stand? Because, yeah, I'm playing him out of context, but you can do nothing about it. Barring the defense is able to ask for the rule of completeness and say that this takes the statement out of context, and you have to play what comes before, what comes after. You have to hear the entire thing in order to understand the meaning of what was just played. But the state has not, or the defense has not gone that route, probably because honestly Karen doesn't come across really well in some of these videos. Her, the imagery is not the most flattering, and so they basically just have to sit there and hate it. Oh man. DMB Second says, I bought 3 goats, one for me, one for my mom, and one for a friend. They all get regular use to it during these trials. We do have a link. It's an affiliate link for just for clarification to the Screaming Goat right there. If you want to buy one, they're just a few bucks, and they give you a lot of satisfaction. So, here we go. Mr. Yannetti got plenty of sleep last night. Witness number 6. She's going to stand now.
You solemnly swear the evidence given to the court and jury in the case will hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You just scooch in close to the microphone. Thanks.
May I proceed?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Jean Demulis. I am the general manager at CF McCarthy's in Canton.
I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up, if you would, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
You said you're the general manager at CF McCarthy's?
In Canton, yes.
How long have you been the general manager at CF McCarthy's in Canton for?
For 6 years.
Can you briefly describe for the jury what CF McCarthy's is?
It is a restaurant and bar.
At CF McCarthy's, is there a video surveillance system inside?
Yes.
Who owns that video surveillance system?
CF McCarthy's.
Are you familiar with the video system?
Yes.
Have you ever looked at it before?
Yes.
Do you employ people to help the establishment with the video system?
No.
You maintain it on your own?
Yes.
At some point were you visited by somebody from the Massachusetts State Police?
Yes.
Were you asked whether or not they could view some of your video surveillance?
Yes.
Do you remember the date? Not the date they came to visit you, the date that they were looking for.
I believe it was January 28th, 27th, 28th of 2022.
Around that time?
Yes.
Did you allow access to the video system?
Yes.
Did you oversee that access to the video system?
Yes.
Was it a state police officer?
It was 2 state police detectives.
Do you remember their names?
I remember one of the detectives' names. I do not remember the other detective.
The one you remember, could you share the name?
It was Detective Buchnick, Yuri.
Detective Yuri Buchnick.
Yes.
At some point, was he allowed to download information from the surveillance system?
Yes.
Did you watch him do that?
Yes, I did.
At some point, have you been able to briefly look at some of that download?
Yes.
And does it appear to be a fair and accurate depiction of the surveillance or the area of your bar?
Yes.
Move to introduce.
Okay, there's no objection, Mr. Yannetti?
There is no objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 18, so marked.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may I play just a small portion?
Sure.
Thank you. Ma'am, I'm going to show you just some random shots from this video, but I want to know if you recognize it. Is this the inside of CF McCarthy's?
Yes.
I'm not asking if you have any particular knowledge or information about that night. I just want to know is this a fair and accurate depiction of what CF McCarthy's looks like?
Yes.
Has there been any substantive, significant changes to the inside of that establishment
No.
since this video was taken?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gilman. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Okay.
I have no questions.
All right, Mr. Lewis, you're all set.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That was the fastest witness so far, just authenticated chain of custody for the video. So we might be doing a couple of those, depending on how they want to present the video.
Your next witness, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you. Bridget Meehan.
We might be authenticating all this and then bring all the videos in one fell swoop as far as playing them for the jury. That's what I'm thinking.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning.
You solemnly swear the evidence you give the court and jury in the case now hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. Good morning. Good morning.
May I proceed?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
My name is Bridget Meehan.
Where do you work?
I work at the Waterfall Bar and Grill in Canton.
The name maybe tells us a little bit about it, but could you just share a couple lines of what the Waterfall Bar and Grill is?
It's a small family-owned business in Canton. It's in a mixed condo complex.
Are you involved in the ownership of it?
Yes.
How long have you been involved with the Waterfall Bar and Grill?
We've been there approximately 10 years.
Do you help run the establishment?
Yes, I do.
And you were running the establishment back on January 28, 2022? Yes. At some point, were you asked or visited to see if your establishment had video surveillance of the inside?
I was.
Does your establishment have video surveillance of the inside?
It does.
Do you have a camera and a server?
Do I have? Yes, I do.
Did you provide video surveillance to the Massachusetts State Police from that night, January 28, 2022?
Yes.
Kaylee Rose, thanks.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'd like to move this in as an exhibit, please.
I'll save that penny forever.
Ms. Giannetti?
No objection.
Thank you.
Exhibit 22.
With the court's permission?
Yes.
Thank you. Ma'am, I'm going to show you just a brief clip.
Oh, those are high tops if I've ever seen them.
Do you see that video?
I do.
Does that depict the inside of McCarthy's?
No.
I'm sorry, the waterfall?
Yes.
Oops. I'm trying to switch.
Did I name your competition?
Back on January 28, 2022, does that look the way it looked then?
Yes.
Has there been any significant changes inside since then?
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay.
No questions.
All right, Ms. Meehan, you're
Thank you.
all set.
And I'll just step coming down.
Is my camera on there?
All right, your next witness, Mr. Brennan.
Commonwealth calls Mike Camerano.
I've already had more witnesses than day one. They've been quick. A lot of Irish in that accent. I'm liking.
You solemnly swear the evidence you give the court and jury in the case now hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I'm liking the way they're laying out their case.
Good morning.
May I?
Please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, good morning. My name is Michael Camerano.
Mr. Camerano, can I ask how old you are? I'm sorry.
Spell your last name.
Camerano.
And so if you could either move the microphone down a little bit or speak up, or maybe a combination of both, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Could I ask you how old you are?
48,
Where do you live?
Canton, Mass.
How long have you lived in Canton for?
Me and my wife have lived there for 20 years. We have 2 children.
How old are your children, sir?
My daughter is 17. My son is 14.
Did you know John O'Keefe?
Yes.
How did you know him?
I met John for the first time at his sister's. They had a benefit for his sister in 2000, I think 13. I met John there for the first time. And then years later, our kids got involved with sports together, and they became very close. As they became close, I became very close with John and his family.
Was your daughter close with John's niece?
Yes.
Was your son close with?
Yes.
Did you spend a lot of time together through sports and socially?
Yes, we did.
I want to take you forward to January 28th of 2022.
Okay.
Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Had you, without any discussion of what might have been said, did you have any discussions with John that day?
Yes.
Did you have a plan?
Yes, we were communicating.
At some point, did you decide that you were going to spend some time or go meet John?
Yes. That Friday, my daughter and his daughter, they got acceptance letters to school. So we wanted to get them together so they could enjoy the time together. And, just, go over like how it would be so much fun, something new and different. Yeah, so we were going to meet up after I got out of work.
Was your daughter planning to go to a new school?
Yes.
Where?
Bishop Fan.
And how about his niece?
Same.
They both got accepted to the same school?
They both got accepted to the same school.
Was it a celebratory mood?
Yes.
Did you have a plan to bring the children together so they could celebrate?
Yes, we did.
And then separately you were going to meet John and celebrate?
Correct.
Okay. Where did you drop your daughter off?
I dropped my daughter off at John. I went into John's. I was at the house with John and the girls, and we had a little celebration. Talked about how nice it's going to be, fun, change, different, meet new people.
And you celebrated at John's house before you went out?
Correct.
After the celebration with your children, did you and John leave?
Yes.
During that celebration, was there anybody there other than you, John, and your two daughters?
No. No. Karen was not there.
Was there anybody else there?
No, just the two girls, myself, and John.
What was the weather like that night?
It was cold. It was not snowing yet.
Was there an expectation?
Yes, there was an expectation. Yes.
And what was that?
That there was going to be a big snowstorm coming in.
A storm was coming?
Yes.
When you left, did you leave in a separate car than John, or did you leave together?
No, we left together. John got in my car, and we were leaving. We were going to leave.
Where were the girls?
The girls were in the house, stayed in the house.
They were staying at John's house?
Yes, correct.
Where did you go?
We went to CF McCarthy's.
When you got there, did you know anybody who was there other than you and John?
At that time, no.
Did you spend time at CF McCarthy's?
Yes.
Were you drinking?
Yes.
Was John drinking?
Yes.
Alcohol?
Yes.
How long were you there for?
A couple hours.
While you were there, did anybody come and meet you that you knew?
Yes.
Who?
A friend, and then Karen came in.
The friend?
Yes.
What was the friend's name?
Kurt.
And then how long after you first got there was it that the defendant arrived?
I would like to say within an hour or so. Not 100% sure.
You said back home it was a celebratory mood. Was it still a celebratory mood at McCarthy's?
Yes.
When the defendant arrived, did she spend time with you and John?
I've talked briefly to her, and her and John were mostly talking.
Okay. You didn't see any issues?
No.
Okay. It was a normal night?
Seemed to be, yes.
As far as you could see?
Yes.
And you saw John drinking?
Yes.
Did you see the defendant drinking?
I saw her with a glass, yes.
Did you leave at the same time that John left?
No, I did not.
When you left, was John still at the establishment?
Yes.
When you left, was the defendant still with him?
Yes.
Why did you leave?
I left because I got a phone call. My son was playing hockey in the backyard, and he got hit with a stick and lost his tooth.
Oh. Where did you go?
I went to my son's friend's house.
Do you know about what time that was when you went to see your son?
I would like to say 9:30, in between 9:30 and 10.
You didn't go back to McCarthy's that night, did you?
No, I did not.
After you helped your son, where did you go next?
I went to pick up my daughter, Madeline,
Did you go
at John's house.
Did you go in John's house?
No, I did not.
When you got to John's house, did your daughter come out?
No. We went to the side door and rang the doorbell.
And then what happened?
And then my daughter came to the door.
Where'd you go?
From there, we left and went home.
When you went home, had the weather changed at all?
It was cool. It might have been flurrying at that time.
No accumulation?
No.
You got home?
Yes.
Did you do anything significant when you got home?
Put the kids to bed, my son, and no, I went to bed.
What's the next thing you remember happening?
Waking up to, I missed some phone calls.
Who were the missed phone calls from?
From my wife and Karen.
What did you do?
I called my wife.
After speaking to your wife, what did you do?
I got in my car and drove to John's house.
About what time was this?
In between maybe 5 and 6 a.m.
What was your mood at that point?
I was panicked.
Why did you go to John's house?
Because I went to get Kaylee.
Did you know if she was alone?
Yes.
How long did it take you to get to John's house?
Maybe 5-7 minutes.
When you get to John's house, what do you see?
I pull in the driveway. I see that the garage door is open. I go in through the garage door. I don't know if Kaylee was standing there, if the door, she came out the door, and I asked her, if she needed anything, she could get in my car and stay warm.
When you first saw Kaylee, what did she look like?
She looked distraught.
Did you try to help her?
Well, I think I just said everything will be okay.
Did she come with you?
Yes.
Where are you going?
To my house.
So what happens?
So we go to my house, and my daughter's up, and the two girls they were hanging downstairs, just hanging out, just being kids. And then, I don't know, a couple hours later, maybe, Paul called me and asked me to bring Kaylee home.
Did you know anything at that point?
I did, yes.
You did or didn't?
At that point, I did when Paul had told me.
So what do you do?
Ask Madeline and Kaylee if I say, Madeline, will you come for the ride? I don't say anything to Kaylee, and we get in the car, and I start heading back to John's house.
And you didn't say anything to Kaylee?
No, I didn't. I just said everything will be all right. She had a feeling.
Why do you say that?
She didn't want to go home.
So what happens next?
So I pull in the driveway, and I remember Paul and Papa standing, I think they were standing at the side door, and we just embraced.
Did you stay?
No, not long. No.
Did you go back?
I was to the house. I went back to my house.
Did you go back to John's house?
I did the next day, yes, I was there.
When you went back, were there people there?
Yes.
Many?
There was people coming and going.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
I don't see a lot of reason to cross, especially aggressively here.
Good morning, Mr. Camerano.
Good morning.
This is quite painful for you to remember the events of January 28th, is it not?
Yes.
You were very close with your friend John O'Keefe, correct?
I was close with them, yes.
And you actually met Karen Reed through John, correct?
Correct.
After meeting Karen, you spent a good amount of time with both Karen and John, correct?
Correct.
As of January 28th of 2022, you had known Karen for maybe about a year or so?
Sounds correct.
And you'd see them especially on Fridays, correct?
Correct.
That would be sort of the day that you get together with both of them often?
Yes.
And of course, your children spent a lot of time with John and Karen, right?
Correct.
You entrusted both Karen and John with your kids.
Yes.
Sometimes your kids would even go on vacation with Karen and John, right?
They did go to the Cape, yes.
Sometimes you'd see Karen without John at your house or on a ball field.
Correct.
And your daughter in particular would sometimes spend time with just Karen without John, correct?
Correct.
Your daughter would sometimes go over to Karen's house in Mansfield when she lived there, correct?
Correct.
And obviously when your daughter would go to Karen's house in Mansfield, Karen would be the one in charge of caring for her, correct?
Correct.
And you were fine with that because you liked and you trusted Karen, right?
Correct.
And in your view, Karen was very good with kids, right?
Correct.
But you also had the opportunity to see Karen and John together, right?
Yes.
You saw how they interacted with each other over that year period that you knew Karen?
Yes.
You saw how they got along?
Yes.
And you never observed any arguments or bickering, correct?
I mean, they argued and bickered.
You had previously testified that you wouldn't even call it arguing, you'd just call it banter, right?
Yes. I mean, he would, he would get upset or like over if she bought expensive things for the kids.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. We will get to that. That would be the one thing that John would complain about, Karen buying like very nice things for his niece and nephew, right?
Correct.
Or he'd complain if Karen was taking his niece and other girls to get their nails done, like extravagances like that.
Correct.
And one specific memory you have is when Karen bought his niece a very expensive sweater, right?
Correct.
And you recall John telling you that he wished that she hadn't done that because he considered that to be spoiling the girl, correct?
Yes.
But it was very clear to you from your observations that Karen really, really liked John. I'm sorry, John really, really liked Karen, right?
Sustained.
He certainly never told you or even suggested he was thinking about or planning to break up with Karen, right?
No.
Okay, so with regard to that Friday night, January 28th, sir, the plan was for you and John to go to McCarthy's to have some drinks because there was a storm coming in, correct? And because of the celebration of the girls getting into Bishop Fen?
Well, yeah, we were going out. It wasn't a continuation of the celebration of the girls. We were going out to have a few beers as guys.
Okay. And when you were leaving the house, John asked you to move your car, right?
Correct.
Where was your car when John asked you to move it that night?
Actually, I backed up my car. We were leaving the driveway, and John asked me to stop so he could move his car.
I see. And he wanted you to move your car because of the storm coming in, and he wanted Karen to be able to pull her car into the garage, right?
Correct.
And that was really thoughtful of him, wasn't it?
Yes, extremely.
And it showed you that he was being chivalrous toward Karen that night, right?
Yes.
He didn't want Karen to be out in the heavy snow later when she returned to his house during the expected blizzard, right?
Sustained.
You took from that there was an expectation that Karen would be coming back to his house, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
You had no inkling that day that anything was wrong between Karen and John, correct?
No.
Everything seemed fine between the two of them, right?
Yes, he did mention though that night that he didn't understand why Karen had a plumber go to the house.
Because he had somebody that could have done that work instead of paying for the plumber, right?
Well, yes.
Okay. But in any case, the plan was for Karen to meet up with the two of you, right?
Yes.
And she did show up to McCarthy's at about 8:30 p.m. or so?
Yes, I guess, if that's the time.
And you saw an affectionate...
I'm sorry, what was the answer that you said?
If that was the time, I'm not sure about the timeline.
Okay. It was sometime after
Yes.
you'd gotten there. Right.
Correct.
But you do remember when Karen arrived, there was an affectionate greeting between John and Karen, right?
Yes.
You saw them kiss, right?
Yes.
You saw John put his arm around Karen?
Correct.
And you saw that Karen sort of nestled into his embrace?
Correct.
And when she did that, that's when he kissed her, correct?
Yes.
And they seemed happy to see each other, did they not?
They did.
That night they were affectionate?
Yes.
Laughing?
Yes.
Happy?
Yes.
Like a normal couple?
Yes.
No arguments?
No.
You witnessed no bickering, no tension, correct?
No.
And during the month before John's passing, that January of 2022, you observed their relationship in your presence to be normal, caring, and affectionate, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir.
You were asked a number of questions about the relationship between John and Karen that night. Do you know what was going on behind closed doors other than what you saw?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
No.
Do you know whether or not they texted each other that day?
No, that day, no.
Do you know whether or not there was any arguments that day?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Not to my... No, I don't know if they were... I don't know if they were arguing over the plumber situation.
Do you know if there's any vulgarities that day?
No.
Do you know if there's any vulgarities that night?
No, not to my knowledge.
Do you know whether or not John was trying to end the relationship with Miss Reed?
Objection.
Do you know that, sir?
No.
Next question.
Do you know if there was any jealousy in that relationship?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I mean, Karen wouldn't let... I mean, they did everything together, a lot of things together, and I thought at times, yeah, you could see, she didn't want other women around John. I don't know, not at that, but...
Thank you.
You follow up?
Nothing further.
All right, Mr. Cameron, you're all set, sir.
Thank you.
I'll see counsel at sidebar for just a minute, please.
All right, so Mr. Cameron, 48 years old, lived in Canada for 20 years. his kids and John's adopted kids were the same age and very close, and they became close friends. He met Karen through John and had probably one of the closest perspectives on John and Karen's relationship because of their regular, nearly constant interaction. Sorry, construction's still going on in the room next door. His testimony is that everything looked right, that their relationship was close, they were affectionate, they, didn't do anything out of the ordinary. I mean, it seems that every complaint that John had about Karen was that Karen was spending too much money on the kids or spoiling them, that she was paying for a plumber when he could probably talk a friend into doing it for free. So it seems like there might have been some financial disagreement. Did hint at the end there was a degree of jealousy, but probably as sitting here trying to look at this as a juror, not an unreasonable level. It didn't come across that it was unreasonable that she wouldn't allow him to be around anyone. At least we didn't get that far enough into the testimony, although we might get more of that from other people. But it hurts to watch him testify as he relives the moment where he went and picked up the daughter from John's house so that they could stay together with his daughter. And then he found out first that John had passed, that he, and when Paul makes the call saying, okay, bring her home, basically we need to tell her, he knows what's going on and makes that drive, brings his daughter along with the drive, and she doesn't want to go home because she has that feel. She knows that something's wrong. Just painful, knowing that he felt that pain for her as well, as she was finding out that her mom passed, her dad passed, and now her new dad had passed. And what a terrible thing to go through for a young child. But good testimony. The cross was very gentle. I will say that he does not, as a witness, he doesn't seem to be on one side or the other, although you get the feel that he has an opinion now that's different than he had then. But he testified to his opinion he had then, and because of that, there was no aggressive cross. There was no, impeaching with prior statements. And well, now you say that now, but this is what you said then, and it was a very clean witness as far as that goes. So they did a close zoom in on Paul there just for a minute. That is Paul's seat. That's where he'll be seated throughout this trial. He has been there every day of trial through trial number 1, and will be there. And he anticipates being here every day through trial number 2. It would take a pretty significant event to have him miss a day in court, and no one's going to sit in that seat. That is his. Let's see. Peggy's not there right now, but Peggy has been. She's there most of the time. Not always in the same position like Paul is, but she does come and go, as the case may be. So, why so many bailiffs in such a small courtroom? Probably because of the tensions that are outside the courtroom exist in the courtroom as well. The two sides are quite passionate and very close to each other. They need a buffer zone in the courtroom.
May I?
Please.
I'm going to recall Nick Garino.
Okay, this is, looks like they've sorted out the issue with the PowerPoint. Nick was up before. He was our witness number 5. Oh, no, excuse me. He was our witness number 4 from day 2, so he's going to be back up now testifying to the phone extraction data, text, phone numbers, Celebrite, report, prepare incoming long PowerPoint. This is something that Ms. Little had to look at overnight and verify that all the data was correct. As long as it was, it matched the data that they had been given in the extraction format. They could use it in this PDF format, even though it was just disclosed to them the day before. The gentleman we see there just above the sirens to the left looking back and forth, he was in the same position yesterday. He's not there day 1. Okay. Don't know his identity. Looks like Judge Beverly ruled on this right as
please.
Right as this began. So that was what the sidebar was for, making sure there was no issues with the PowerPoint.
Sure, you can have a seat. I'll remind you you're still in your room.
Or stand, however you're most comfortable today. Just do whatever you need to do, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
I believe he has some sort of lower back
Morning,
leg
everyone.
injury that causes him pain or discomfort. You'll
Sir,
see him
yesterday we
shift.
talked about downloading phones and making what you called extractions.
Yes.
And from that data, you could create different types of reports.
So have Detective Guarino say his name again, please.
I'm sorry. Again, for the record, could you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name for the record?
Yeah. Good morning. My name is Nicholas Guarino, Guarino.
Thank you.
Sir, you mentioned yesterday that you downloaded a number of phones, or you were involved in the process of downloading a number of phones.
That's correct.
You explained to us that after you have the data analyzed, you can pinpoint certain items that you may want to put in a document.
Yeah, so the extractions into a program of our choosing, Cellbrite is the most commonly used, and then we can take call logs or text messages, any information that the investigator is looking for.
When you downloaded Mr. O'Keefe's phone and you downloaded the defendant's phone, did you try to create, or did you create a report through Cellbrite, the software, that would show you all of Mr. O'Keefe's call logs?
Yes, I did.
And when I use the term call logs, what does that mean?
The call logs are the calls that the phone receives.
How do you create a report from Cellbrite? Can you just walk us through that process briefly?
Yep, so in the program you can go in and select the calls from it and export it into different formats, PDF, XML, HTML, or you can create a portable case and extract them all as a portable case that we would see on my computer.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Showing you a document of Mr. O'Keefe's call logs. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is it?
It is the call logs. Just want to make sure it's between John O'Keefe and the defendant from, so let me see the dates, the 28th, January 28th, 2022 to January 29th, 2022.
Would this contain all the phone calls from his phone data for the calls between those two parties that night?
Yes, that's what I created.
Thank you. I'd like to move this as an exhibit, please.
Okay. So,
If I could, Your Honor, just want to compare, make sure we got the same.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan.
So they just want to make sure what they are about to show the court is the same thing that was provided to them. Flip through the pages. This little gives the nod. Mr. Lessie says it's good.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Consent.
okay.
No objection.
Love talking to Courtroom Confidential Josh last night, who knows Miss Little and AJ, and could give a little insight to them a little bit. If you missed that, you've got to go back and watch that. Worked with them in the same
You
office.
captured all of the phone calls between two parties on that last document. Can you also do that with chats?
Yes, that is true.
And did you do that in this case?
Yes, I did.
Did you create a document of chats between the phones of the defendant and Mr. O'Keefe for after midnight, for the evening hours of January 29, 2002?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'm good.
Defense has not crossed this witness yet. They
Recognize that document?
basically broke up the direct. Defense will cross him later. probably.
Yes,
today.
I do.
And can you tell us what that is?
These are the texts from the defendant to John O'Keefe. Yes.
For January 29, 2022?
Yes, that's correct. So I'm sorry.
I'd move this as an exhibit, Your Honor.
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Exhibit 24.
Did you identify or specify chat messages between John O'Keefe and a person named Jen McCabe?
Yes, I did.
Did you create a Cellbrite report?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
Give me 2 seconds. Be right back.
Can we have just a brief moment, please?
It's sidebar?
No.
Just the two of them?
Compare that what we have.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Wright.
You're welcome. Sir, I'm handing you a document. Do you recognize it?
Yes. This is the text messages between John O'Keefe and Jen McCabe on January 29th, 2022.
And this is through a search of Cellbrite. You matched their data, pull up all of their conversations.
Yes, that's
By
correct.
chat.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'd move to introduce this, please, Your Honor.
No
objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 25.
Similarly to the chats, did you do the same with calls between Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. McCabe?
Yes, I did.
I don't think I missed any texts yet. They're just laying the foundation.
May I approach,
for the
Your Honor?
records,
Yes.
right?
Showing you a document, sir. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, this is the call log between John O'Keefe and Jen McCabe for, just want to make sure I get all the dates correct, just for January 29th, 2022.
Do you have evidence, Your Honor?
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 26.
Did you do a file extraction and a report on all chats between the phones of John O'Keefe and the defendant for a period of time?
Yes, I did.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Handing you a document. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, this is the text messages between John O'Keefe and the defendant from January 28th to January 29th, 2022.
Thank you. Your Honor, move this into evidence.
Okay. Mr. Alessi?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Exhibit 27.
Did you have an opportunity to make a report from some of the data from the defendant's phone from January 29, 2022?
What are you referring? I did make some reports from the defendant's phone.
What's a call log report?
Again, the call log report is the calls that the party makes to another phone. So it's going to show everyone they've called or attempted to call.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to take a look at this document. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
And could you tell the jury what it is?
It's the call log from the defendant's phone for January 29th, 2022. It looks like everyone she called.
Oh, that was yucky. Aaron.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thanks for the clarification there. I appreciate that. Thank you for your support as well.
What we just introduced into evidence is the entire call log of calls to anybody and everybody to and from for that period of time.
Yes.
That's fair to say?
Yes, that's correct.
And then can you further isolate calls between just two parties?
Yes, you can. You can search by phone number or name.
And did you do that with the defendant's records for some parties?
Yes, I did.
Did you isolate phone calls between the defendant and Ms. McCabe for the evening of January 29, 2022?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
Let's take a look at this document. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It's the phone calls from the defendant and Jennifer McCabe, January 29, 2022.
Thank you. Your Honor, I'd like to move this into evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
29.
Did you isolate calls between the defendant and Ms. Roberts for the night of January 29, 22?
Yes, I did.
Can I see the last exhibit, please? Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'd ask you to take a look at that document. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
Could you share with the jury what it is?
Yep. It's the call logs between the defendant and Carrie Roberts for January 29th, 2022. Yes.
And that's a report you created?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I move this into evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Exhibit 30.
Did you have an opportunity to isolate and produce a report for all chats between the defendant and Ms. Roberts for the night of January 29, 2022?
Yes, I did.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
So I'm handing you a document. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And could you share with the jury what that is?
This is text messages between the defendant and Carrie Roberts on January 29th, 2022.
Thank you. I would move this into evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. Jurors, this is the way we have to put evidence in cases in Massachusetts, okay?
Exhibit 31.
Sucks and it's stupid, but it's our stupid. So that's what we're going to do. Just kidding. Process is the process. Sometimes it's meticulous and slow, and we're going to get through it.
So do you have an opportunity to identify a text message or a chat between the defendant and a person by the name of Ingrid on the morning of January 29th, 2022?
Yes, I did.
May I approach?
Yes.
Take a look at this document. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
Could you tell the jury what that is?
Yes, this is a text conversation between the defendant and looks like a group chat between Ingrid Curtis and Bill Curtis.
Did you make that report?
Yes, this is on January 29, 2022.
Thank you. And move this into evidence, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Exhibit 32.
If this is a good time, if Your Honor would permit.
Okay. Jurors, what we're going to do is we will take our morning recess now, and we'll take 20 minutes to a half an hour, and we'll see you then.
Interesting. 20 minutes to half an hour. We got a morning recess of 20 minutes to half an hour. That's a lunch recess in this courtroom. I mean, we've had lunches that long. So let's see if they have something they want to take care of. In the meantime, there might be something coming up here. We'll hold tight here and listen. See what happens. Recess, says Red. Red, welcome back. We missed you. How was Ireland? Let's see, 20 minutes to half an hour. Dang. So I'm looking for a good online timeline creator. I'd like to start plugging in some of these times. I think that it's going to be crucial to have that and be able to compare all the little bits of evidence to see what matches up and what doesn't. I started building one on Monday.com, but it's more team task oriented. Does anyone have a good online timeline tool that you love? It was fantastic. Can't wait to see the pictures. It's amazing. I believe, yeah, more so than anything else in this case, even in this version, this edition of this case, or this rendition. I've just worked short hours. This is normal. Let's see. Let's see. Greenas says my parole officer says I can't go within 150 feet of the playground. Brandy does great timelines. I'm not trying to use her content. I'd like to plug in things that we see. Specifically, like for instance, we know one thing that's very important in the timeline is the cell phone with the temperature. I'd like to plug in the different times where people say they did something and see how it compares with the data that seems to be linked to, say, like a satellite clock. But so I'd like to say who said a certain thing or who provided the information, the time they said it happened, and then put it on that on the timeline. Let's see. Try a free trial of my case. If I share it publicly or if we use it, I might have to purchase it, but all-in-one legal software, fair pricing. Hey, they have fair pricing. That's always good. Microdots has some good stuff on YouTube, right? Yes, the current witness does have outstanding on his record an incident where he performed a similar function on a different phone in a different case and missed 34,000 texts. That probably won't be raised in this case, but we'll see if defense goes there, or if they're able to. Okay, 10-day free trial, no credit card required. I just want to see how much it costs. Fair pricing. Basic at $39 a month. Cloud-based case management with end-to-end billing and online payments. And that includes task management. I don't need tasks so much as just a visual timeline creation. This is like for billing. This is the full-on legal case management. Make timelines with Canva. I already pay for Canva. Let's see. I need it almost to be a spreadsheet format for data entry. I'm not sure if Canva will let me do that. Let me do a quick check. Create a timeline. That's the visual representation. I'm looking more for the data side. So I might make a, I just need a spreadsheet, right? Okay, here we go. Numbers it is. We'll go with numbers. Yeah, I'm a Mac guy, so I can't use Excel, but I do all my finest work in Microsoft Paint. Says Greenas. Thank you for that. Okay, it's gonna be numbers for me, but we might be able to share this as well. Spreadsheet converted to a timeline, but let me start entering stuff. Let's see how good I am at keeping up on some of the stuff we need. I think these text messages, as painstaking it might be, and how slow it will be to enter them, may be important. At least a few of them might be very important, especially when you get around specific times. You know, the Excel has a Mac version. Yeah, it does. I just refuse to buy it because they change it every 2 years and it stops working. Vengage or Visme? I think I'll use one of those tools for the visual production of it, but I think we'll just go with the database right now. For the database, I can sort all the entries by a timestamp, and then an export for one of those. Lotus 123. There you go. That's back in the day. I used that when I was in high school. Lotus 123. Just to give you an idea of how, for you tech guys, how long ago that was. Our network, our computers were daisy chained for the network. Yep. It was like link to link to link to link. If one connection broke, all of them were off. Downstream were off. P for Will, I can build you an online database if you want. Mostly it's just I just need to enter it. It's the data collection that we need. So we're going to need the witness or the source. For a witness, we need something they say that happened at this time. I remember because I looked down at my clock and it said this. We're going to need the witness. If it's a source like a cell phone, it's going to come from whose cell phone and a timestamp. And then we're going to need a notes field that's going to have to be fairly flexible. What else do we need on our timeline? Do you want to say do we want to delineate out if this came in from the prosecution or the defense, so we can look at the two timelines and say this is how one side says it happened, this is how the other side says it happens? Scent Bunny, I appreciate that. You are probably much better at doing that than I am, so I might take you up on that offer. Newbie, I'm a big fan of Peter Tragos, not just because he likes to come to North Carolina and go on vacation here, but just what a great guy. I was able to go on a podcast with him to do a little collaboration. Complete gentleman, very smart, very fun to talk to. Love what he's done. I love what he's done for the LawTube community as well. I know that you can't judge a creator entirely by the comments that people make in their chat. The mods do the best they can, but especially when there's a lot of interest in a case, we get it. We get people saying, wow, I've never seen a chat so hostile. It's like, well, this isn't us. We've got a lot of people here who have never been here before and are doing what they do on Reddit or 4chan or whatever it is they're doing on the internet, and they're doing it here, and we're trying to filter it out. I've got a lot of respect for Peter Tragos and what he's done. And he has amazing hair. Let's see. Yeah, I will say if you're at work, don't use your work computer to make a timeline for me. The boss will see that. Oh, that siren was here. It was not in Canton. Peter's great. Carol. RA has amazing hair. Yeah, I do not have the amazing hair that Peter Tragos does. If Fabio was a lawyer, he would look like Peter Tragos. And next, and not far behind, of course, we've got Ian Runkle, the White Wizard of LawTube. I like that Peter sticks what he does. Don't like the name calling part, but I like that Peter does say, "Hey, look, this is how I feel," and you guys are calling me out in chat, but this is why I feel that way. I like that. He's very authentic, and I can tell you just from my interactions with him, he's the same off camera as he's on camera, and that means a lot to me when we're talking about creators. I love Ian's IDGAF. I know what that acronym means, but I love his attitude. I love his Ian Runkleisms. Man, you can't get much better than that, especially when it's
because we here in Canada hate you and hope for bad things for you because we hate you.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Ian. He gave me permission to use that at will. Jade, member for 10 months. Thank you. Said I just want to say I absolutely love RA in this community. Thank you, Jade. Thanks for making this community what it is by being here, and thank you for your support that makes it all possible. Runkle has his so. The way he says so is, I can't even imitate it. And it's one word. You'd think I could get it down, but it means so much when he says it. Sometimes it'll make you laugh, and sometimes it'll make you think, and sometimes it's like, oh, wait, just wait for it. Here it comes. Good stuff. I said this before. The internet is huge. It is big, and there's room for everybody. And I really value the very diverse people that follow a case, that share their insights, that give their breakdowns, that summations, recaps, and just provide a little bit of a different perspective. If we were all doing the same thing, you guys would hate it. You'd hate it. I mean, and it would. I love that you can look at LawTube and LawTube adjacent channels like my own and say, well, I like this or I don't like that, and have other options to go to, and be like, you know what, I want to see Emily D. Baker's reaction to this next witness coming up, because oh my goodness, her reactions are top notch. I want to hear Peter Tragos and his dad break down a legal concept that just baffles me and it doesn't make sense, and I want to hear it done in terminology that just makes sense. Or I want to hear Rob from Law and Lumber talk to me about a witness and give me a personal perspective, and hear somebody who can relate to a witness better than anybody else I know, and understand what they're going through. You can go to all these people and see a different take and a different spin and a completely different opinion. Oftentimes, LawTube is amazing for that reason. Best part of the internet. Emily Baker is 11 out of 10 reactor. She's great. She is fantastic. Juror says, I take much of LawTube's views with a grain of salt because they're mostly defense lawyers and typically anti-prosecution. You get both kinds. You get both. There are a lot more defense lawyers, I think, on the internet than prosecutors. As far as LawTube goes, prosecutors step up. Bring your A game. Let's get on here. We need your opinions. Let's see. David Jules, I have to admit, I did that just after court. I went and watched Emily Baker. Somebody called me out because I had set up my YouTube because I knew she was still live when we stopped yesterday. I had set up my YouTube and I had her channel going. I was ready to pull it up on my screen as soon as I stopped my feed. I did watch her finish out her show. It was a lot of fun. Kathy, oh my goodness. Morning hot take with Kathy at Gossip Rumor and Innuendo. Nobody does it like she does. Good stuff. Danny on Direct is great. Lawn Lumber, Runkle, Andrea, Mata, Peter, EDB, great people, and many, many more. Which is, I mean, we've got some channels that are tiny that are just doing amazing work. Kay, for instance, with sign language. Man, we need that. We need that. There's a small but a desperately in need of support group of people who need sign language for some of what happens in court, because we all know closed captioning does not cut it, and so it's good stuff. And of course, we've got friends of the channel like Brandy, whose recaps. Yes, man, Grizzlies represent. Trial TV Live doing a great thing, providing access to many different courts. Love them. Love working with them. Want a prosecutor? They're all on Court TV. They're all on Court TV. They have great ones. I will admit that the big channels, like the Law and Crime, the Court TVs, some of the big channels have a lot more of the prosecutors than YouTube does. Marta Sterling says, you just listed everyone I sub to. It explained exactly what I love about them on your channel. It's great, Marta. Thanks for being here today. I appreciate it. It's amazing. There's room for everybody is what I'm saying. We're all doing things differently, and we're doing it from a different perspective. With a little, even though we have every single law tuber, there's shared footprint with other audiences, but absolutely love it. We are on break, and we're on a big break, and I'm not sure why, which is a little bit confusing. It seems that there was a discussion at Sidebar where Mr. Brennan had indicated they would need some time at some point to do something. We don't know what that is, but we know that the break was called for by Brennan after he got through the admitting evidence in all of the pieces of having extracted cell phone communications between Karen's phone and this person, Karen's phone and this person, and all the different batches of data individually admitted, not shown to the jury or us yet. But then he said, now would be a good time for whatever's happening, which we might hear or we might not hear. It might be something in chambers, might be something in the courtroom, but here, where's my phone? It's way over here. We have a prank call. Hang on. Hello?
Hello, Dwayne.
Yeah.
Hi, Dwayne. This is Mark calling from the customer service department of Pure Destinations.
Hey, Mark. How's it going?
It's going well. So the reason we called is we noticed you had traveler's insurance on a vacation package you bought a few years back.
I'm big on insurance. Like my insurance agent for my car, I buy every single option. I'm worried that if something goes wrong, I won't be covered. And usually, honestly, it doesn't. But it's just, I feel so much better having insurance than not having insurance.
Okay, so because you had insurance through the state and federal law, we're actually obligated to replace the trips in your package with ones you'll be able to use.
Is this from the COVID era? The trip?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah. I was waiting for this.
I mean,
I was waiting
it's
for
you
this
and
call.
100,000 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It happened to everybody. So, but you had insurance, so it doesn't really matter that much. It might be a blessing.
Yeah.
All right, because with the new package, you have no timeshare presentation requirement. We've done away with that here at my company.
Oh my goodness! Those,
all right.
I have to admit, just between you and me, those were the least favorite things. I've sat through so many of those timeshares. Some of the guys, some presentations are like, they're good. It's like they're telling funny stories and showing the vacation pictures. Other guys, it's like all they're doing is flipping through a PowerPoint and reading every word on the screen.
Yeah, I know.
I could do this at home, right?
I know. I actually worked for Wyndham for about a month.
Oh man, they were bad.
They poached me from a vacation club, and they paid for my real estate license.
All right.
Yeah, because I was good at what I did. I was. Did
you work for? There was a guy. It was Gregory. Oh man, he had like a weird name. It started with a W. His name was Gregory, and he'd tell stories about what went wrong on flights. Do you remember him?
No. I was hooked up with Hardbuck, and they. This kid, he's a self-starter. He started as a representative for Wyndham and built his own company behind that.
Nice.
So I worked for him for a while, and that's when they poached me, Wyndham. They saw me get clients on the boardwalk in Atlantic City.
They saw talent, and they're like, we need him.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's like, dude, we'll put you right in real estate. Guys, let's do it. But I didn't like their tactics once you got in their sales office. Because they're really targeting older people.
Yeah.
And they have 5 different salesmen coming at them, and sometimes they think they're paying for like a week, and they actually sign them up for timeshare.
The old bait and switch.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't like that, especially the fact that they were doing it to elderly people.
Yeah, that gets my
that
gets my goat.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to respect your elders. That's how I was raised. I come from a South Philadelphia Italian family, so that's how
I can hear a little Italian in your accent.
Yeah.
Just you've got it there.
Yeah.
Do you have like a special, like a favorite dish or something, like a family dish?
I actually make lobster francaise. Is my favorite dish.
I kid you not. I had lobster for the first time this year.
Really?
And it was amazing.
I love lobster.
It was amazing.
It is amazing. It's like oral sex.
I'm not sure we can say that.
All right. Yeah, in 2024, you can. It's a lot more you can say these days. So anyway, you're not going to have blackout dates with the new package either. All right. With a 30-day advance notice, we guarantee your dates and destinations. And there's no expiration. So if it takes you 3 months to use the package or 10 years, it doesn't matter. There's no expiration in the package whatsoever. So what they start you off with is a Vegas trip. It's 4 days and 3 nights stay in Las Vegas. Now, in Vegas, you have the option of staying on or off the strip. Okay, we have plenty of resorts there and hotel casinos like MGM Grand, the Paris, New York, Mandalay Bay, just to name a few. And we have some gorgeous resorts out in the desert as well. All right, so you can travel
There's
for
stuff
on
out
that
in the
trip.
desert?
We have desert resorts, yes. Well, they're right outside of Vegas. But
I've been down the strip. It's all lights and everything. I didn't realize there was anything in Nevada other than the strip in Las Vegas.
Yeah, now they have museums, all kinds of stuff going on now.
I'll have to check that out.
Because they're trying to compete, they're making sure they can't be competed with is more of the point.
I thought it was just like bodies, like the back in the day, the mafia or whatever, the mob down there was.
It's not like that no more. It used to be crazy there though.
Yeah.
All right, so the next trip we're going to include for you is a cruise. Have you ever been on a cruise?
Never.
Never?
No.
Well, this is a good first cruise if you want to try.
I'm scared of deep water. I'm sorry that they're building it.
I mean, I get it. Some people just would prefer their feet on land.
Yeah.
So we are full service. They can replace that with something, for the land. All right. So finally, you're also going to be receiving an 8-day, 7-night, 1-bedroom condominium, fully furnished at a resort. It's not just, some condominium somewhere. It is a condominium resort.
Yeah.
You can travel for. If you do, they will move you to a 2-bedroom. I like the condo style travel, so I still travel with my kids who are older. But if
all
you
in
get
the
on my
same
nerves, I
condo?
can just go in the bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. In a 2-bedroom condo, but
Okay.
Yeah, so I can go in my room or tell them to go in their rooms. They're getting on my nerves, especially when they start playing that Xbox thing.
Oh yeah. Do your kids play Minecraft? My kids are all over Minecraft.
Yeah. Well, actually, I just lost my eldest son.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yes. Oh, thank you. He was a computer genius. That's what he went to school for.
Mm-hmm.
So he could stop hackers, any hacker.
Wow.
Supposedly.
I bet the government's going to
really
be like that. They would have hired him in a heartbeat if they could find him.
He was actually working for the casinos.
Oh.
Subcontractor. He was subcontractor for some of the casino hosts.
Do they have hackers targeting these casinos? I imagine with that much money at play.
Oh, I'm sure they do. Absolutely. Wow. But that's not what he does there. What he does is he gathers information on the clientele, and he gives it or sells it to for people.
You're kidding
people who compliment stuff. No. So he gets like their kids' names, ailments, stuff like that. So you're more personable when you're speaking with the people.
So the casino's like digging dirt up on their clients so they know, names and birthdays and everything. That's crazy.
I don't know about the birth dates, but they do know you have children. Sometimes they know about your ailments, personal stuff. It's not
your addictions, like gambling.
Well, yeah, you go to the casino more than once a year, you probably have an addiction with that.
Yeah.
That is actually, I'm a numbers guy, so gambling is the addiction that has the highest suicide rate of everything.
Seriously?
Yes. And I actually witnessed it. I was working for Trump property.
Oh, man.
In Atlantic City, and a guy had jumped out of Caesars off the helicopter.
That's
Yeah.
terrible.
It's crazy.
Addiction is terrible. I'm a huge fan of people who are in recovery. Whatever their addiction is, gambling, drinking, drugs, computer gaming, everything. I actually have a YouTube channel called Recovery Addict that I'm live on right now, where we celebrate that. So yeah.
And what's it called?
Recovery Addict.
Oh, Recovery Addict.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna look at that after work.
Yeah. I have to admit, we're watching court right now, and the judge is about to come back. And I never take these vacations, ever. So I appreciate that, Mark. You've been the most personal one. I get this call probably, 4 or 5 times a week. We take them live on there. Right now we've got about 1,700 people listening. So I appreciate your story and your sales pitch and your effort. Do wish you luck. I do apologize for the loss of your son. That breaks my heart. But I got to say, I'm not going to be.
All right. I mean, if you're not going to use it, if you're not going to use it,
maybe we'll see you in chat. Jump on Recovery Addict on the channel. We're live on YouTube right now. So.
I'm going to check it out after work.
Thanks, my friend. We'll see you.
All right, buddy. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Lobster? He went from lobster to... Oh, my goodness. Oh. I couldn't go any further. First of all, we shared something personal about losing his son. I knew that I couldn't make a joke going there forward. That became a little more serious. So, but maybe we'll see him in chat. So if you see Mark when he pops on, and let him know he did a great sales pitch, probably one of the best. Being able to deviate from the script a little bit is something I appreciate. That pitch went everywhere. He isn't the usual scammer. No. I can see why they hired him. I can actually feel his disappointment. I'm sorry. The pitch, it's a lie. That's what I hate about that pitch. I've never in my life bought trip insurance. Okay. I don't even pay the extra money to have a refundable ticket. But let's see. Hey Amber, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Your name is also not Dwayne, says Grit Grinder. Doing well.
So I kind of disappeared after there was a witness that I completely missed.
Yeah.
As soon as it was
a hard name in chat, Amber decides it's nap time and leaves RA on his own to try to figure out what the name is and how to spell it.
Yeah, I got a call from my cousin. I had to handle that because of my aunt and everything. But then I come back and
and you heard all about the lobster.
The moment I come back, I happen to just hear Scott say, "I tried lobster for the first time this year," and then it went left.
And he's like, speaking of firsts, yeah. Whoa. So, Katie, thank you very much.
So I didn't hear the buffer sound go off in my last message, and I want to make sure that you caught the message that I buffered. Can you scroll back enough and catch it, or no?
I will try. How far back was it?
Red, I saw what you said.
This one. Have no fear. I've screen recorded it because I don't trust Recovery. I had to go back and edit it out later. We might have gotten demonetized right there. It's still early in the day. This is one of those moments where I did not open the door, okay, in court. There was nothing I said that would have invited or encouraged Mark to go where he went. And he went there anyway. So over my objection, I might try lobster now. I don't know. Start a new stream real quick. No, I think we're good. We've had a couple super chats come in, so I think it's still functioning properly. But
we were over the 2-hour mark. I think we should be okay. But just so you know, I oh my goodness.
Red, thank you so much. Demonetization fund. This one was worth every penny. Red, I'm so glad you had a great vacation. We might need to bring you on the podcast. I'm not sure if we could do it tonight, but maybe another night, just to tell us all about Ireland and why we need to go visit. But thank you for your support. It's so good to have you back, though. You were missed. So many people are like, has anyone seen Red Pen? And we had to say she left us. She thought there was better things in Ireland. The grass was greener in Ireland, which apparently it is. Literally, the grass is greener in Ireland. But everything is over there. I really want to change the subject.
True.
Yes, we are. So, Amber, thanks for the call.
Okay, so, right, two things. Yes, my laugh is a command for those that were asking. And two, I'm going to post a link here in a few moments when I hang up. And it's going to be the link to the form for best/worst moments for 2025, end of year Festivus stream.
We might have just had one today.
It's going to be epic. I'll post it in the comments for y'all to keep and save and post, respond, fill out a form throughout the year.
You know that Festivus
Have a
live
good day.
stream will be demonetized.
Don't plan on advertising on that one.
Yeah. Kimar says, jump in on the demonetization bandwagon. Thank you, Kimar. Thanks for your support. Thanks for the stuff you've
Have a good day, everybody.
All right. We'll see you, Amber. Bye. All right. Let's see. Lady Dracona said this in my member chat, but look at Recovery Addict gaining subs and views. One spam call at a time. I'm sorry I missed the member chat. Let me go back and see. I did miss a couple comments. We still are waiting for court to return. So it's going to be just a moment here. There it is. Lady Draconis, who is a mod over on Law and Lumber with Rob. Thank you for being here, by the way. Member for 18 months. Son's hammering studs into place. Look at RA getting subs and views. One call at a time. Jade, also member for 10 months. And I just wanted to say I absolutely love RA in this community. Thank you. Thank you. Aaron Blackman, this came in during the testimony, and thank you for this. Says the guy in the back, the guy said who was moving his head back and forth, is actually an attorney, possibly involved in the Turtle Boy case. So, got another call coming in. Let's see.
Call from Fractured 23.
Fractured 23. How are you doing today?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing fabulous.
I wanted to call and tell you my funny story. I have this, I do this thing with my family about cops doing stupid cop things.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to tell you about it because it happened this morning and it was actually hilarious. I think you guys are going to get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I tell you?
If it's quick, because the break's about to be over, so we got to go fast.
Yeah, it's super fast. So I was dropping my little one off at daycare, and I was driving down the road. It's 40 kilometers per hour on this road. I get over, and I knew there was a cop behind
like a 25
me.
So, for those of us who use miles per
yeah,
hour.
I'm Canadian, y'all. So, but yeah, so I'm going 40 kilometers, making sure I stay there because they pull people over here all the time. So I get over the train tracks and the cop turns his lights on, and I'm thinking, okay, he's not pulling me over because I'm not doing anything wrong. So, but I let him go. He must have just got a call, right? So I pull over. Nope, he's pulling me over. This man got out of his car, stomped to my car, and started screaming in my window, "Why are you driving so slow?" And I was like, "Pardon me, officer?" He's like, "Why are you driving so slow?" And I'm like, I was going 40 kilometers an hour, sir. Like, and he's like, "But why? That's very slow. Why were you driving so slow?" Not 30 feet away from me was the speed limit sign that says 40 kilometers an hour. So I point out my window at the sign and I was like, "Officer, I was going 40 kilometers an hour because that sign right there says 40 kilometers an hour." He looks from me to the sign and looks back at me, and he's like, "Have a good day," and stomp back to his car. That's my story about cops doing stupid things. I hope you have a great day. I love y'all. Bye.
Thanks, Fractured. Perfect timing. The judge just came back, said we're going to have a sidebar. So counsel's going to sidebar right now. We're not quite there. Fractured, that's funny. That's hilarious that you got pulled over for doing the speed limit right in front of the speed limit sign. Maybe he just wanted, he wasn't just in a hurry. He was just in a hurry.
Yeah, I don't know. It was hilarious, though. So I have a million.
At least he didn't say, "Well, I'm going to let you off with a warning." So.
Right. I just love to be there when they review his body camera. Like,
yeah, do request that one. Fractured, thank you very much. We'll catch you again soon.
Yeah, have a great day. I love y'all. Bye.
Bye. All right. Hammer drill, doing hammer drill things there. Thank goodness for the speed limit sign. Yeah. It would have been funny because if there was a ticket, I mean, funny for us, not funny for you because you would have to go to court and address all this. But going to court and he puts down the road name and the speed you were traveling at as 40 miles per hour, and then you submit the picture of the very location with the speed limit sign, and that would have been a funny moment in court. Oh, no body cam in Canada? That's a loss. You're enjoying the hammering sound effects? I'm not. Did my math check out? It was 40 kilometers, about 25 miles per hour. Was it 25, 30, right around there? I'm not sure if it's like a 4-to-1 ratio. The hammering is in my bathroom. Yeah, it's going on in the bathroom right now. Melissa, it's a pleasant sound knowing that we will soon have 2 bathrooms in this house instead of just one for the 7 of us. I'm not sure what they're hitting so much, honestly, because everything is screwed together. There's no nails. I use construction screws, those big, like 3.5-inch construction screws. So if they're hitting something, it means that it was probably not cut the right length, and we're trying to make it fit. All right.
Jury, please.
They're on the way around.
Okay, jury's on the way in. We're going to have to pan up so that we can excellently catch their heads. We're looking over, if you look right now, we're looking over the seats of the jurors. So the camera is positioned behind the jury box. So when they walk in, we will see them unless we pan up, which we need to do very quickly. Normally we don't get this view when the jury's on the way in. We're going to hear a jury enter. There we go. The camera pans up to the only fan. Josh checks in from Italy on vacation, says to convert 40 kilometers per hour to miles per hour, we multiply by this factor. So I said 25, just in my head. I didn't know that. I was spot on. To paraphrase a movie, Italy? What's my mod doing in Italy?
Goes back in session in ABC.
All right, Mr. Brennan, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Just a few more items I'd like you to recognize. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
No explanation about the break or why it was so long.
Do you know what's in that envelope?
Yes, it's the raw data extraction of John O'Keefe's cell phone.
Your Honor, ask it to be marked simply for identification, please.
Okay.
Exhibit A, identification.
Thank you.
Second folder.
Yes, it's the raw data extraction of Jen McCabe's cell phone that I created.
Thank you, sir. Your Honor, ask it to be marked for identification as well.
All right.
Exhibit D for identification.
Thank you.
Trooper, you shared with us that you downloaded the extraction of the phones that you identified and you made reports based on specific identified features. For example, a conversation between 2 people.
Yes, well, I didn't do the extraction of Jen's phone, but I made those reports with the PDFs from the data extraction.
Relative to Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant's phones, you created a document that provided us the phone calls between them on January 29th?
Yes, that's correct.
And separately, you also provided a document that included all of the chats or text messages between John O'Keefe and the defendant on January 29, 2022.
Yes. It also included the 28th.
Thank you.
Yes.
And in that compilation, did you put together or do you create or review a PowerPoint of those?
Yes, I did.
And what was the point of that?
Just to show the texts and calls in a chronological order, because that way you're not looking at 2 different documents trying to compare and contrast the calls to text messages when each is coming in.
And did you begin that PowerPoint presentation with a call at 2:16:10 on January 28, 2022?
Yes, that's correct.
And are there additional chats or text messages earlier that morning?
Yes, there's a handful starting around 9:45 a.m.
May I
Yes.
approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Handing you a folder, sir. Could you take a look at it? Let us know if you recognize what's in it.
Yes. So this is the bulk of this is the PowerPoint calls and text messages, and then at the beginning there's the messages from before 2:16 in the morning.
I'd like to introduce this as an exhibit, Your Honor.
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor.
Great, thank you.
Exhibit 33.
For permission, I'd ask the witness to read the text messages from the morning hours, and then we begin the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you have a hard copy of those for me?
It was provided. I'll see if we have another copy if you don't have it.
All right, I have, it's in here, the
judge lost her
pre-morning
copy.
hours. The ones that we discussed at Sidebar. If you don't have them,
The defense has a copy for you, Your Honor.
thank you.
Madam? I'm sorry.
Thank you,
The
Ms. Little.
defense has a copy. Miss Little has to give the state's evidence to the judge because the prosecutor doesn't.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, timestamp entry time. Here we go.
May we begin, Your Honor?
Please.
Could you first read the text messages from that morning to the jury?
Yes. Apologize if I misspell things or state things. Start time. All right. It's a little different than the format I had before. All right. This is from Karen Reed to John O'Keefe. You have really hurt me this time. This was sent at 9:49:20 a.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant. I'm sorry, this has been an issue with me for 8 years. It physically hurts me to see everyone else in their life do things for them, and I'm forced to always be the bad guy. This was sent at 10:02:56 a.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm not the same as everyone else. Most of the time I try to do what is healthy/smart for them. More importantly, I try to support you in what you need. You just lashed out at me and said terrible things. I don't know how you've gotten to this point with me when I'm just trying my hardest. You made your point and continue to beat me down. I have a lot going on too. Physically, I am falling apart and trying to get answers and help. 10:09:49 a.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. I am just your girlfriend. I am not a perfect parent. I am trying very hard and sometimes treat them - nothing like I used to. 10:46 a.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I know, I'm sorry for lashing out. I'm just hurting and struggle daily with them. Always feel like I'm failing at this parenting thing. I wasn't built for this. 10:12 a.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, Kaylee isn't perfect, but everything wonderful about her is because of you. 12:21:36 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji is sent at 12:21:59 on the 28th.
An emoji? What emoji?
From the defendant to John O'Keefe.
Was it poop?
It's true. I know she's her mother's daughter, but she wouldn't be so bright and
it smiley
successful
face?
if she lived with anyone else. 12:22:51 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe. Wow, Kristen just sent 2 back-to-back messages to not lose your faith in the kids. 12:31:28 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or in yourself, at 12:31:41 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, there's 2 emojis sent at 12:32:06 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, no, and there's 2 emojis. Life can pick you up sometimes. Please be happy with them and put away your frustrations for the rest of the day. And be so proud of yourself, JJ. That's 12:33:35 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, that's what bothers me more than anything. Should have sent Peg's or Sarah's W-2s. We are all equal guardians. 1:18:21 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, maybe you can call someone. 1:21:55 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, like who? 1:46:42 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, what time are you coming here? 1:47:38 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, it's another emoji sent, 2:05:30 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't know what time, feel kind of out of it, just trying to clear my head, 2:06:07 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, he writes, okay, 2:06:25 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, text me when you guys settle in later, 2:06:44 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, sure, 2:06:58 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to, oh, and it's cut off here, sir.
Yeah. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
That must be where the, so.
Would it be helpful if I take it out of the binder for you?
I believe it, yeah, it goes to the next one, so I'll start. Yeah, sorry.
With the court's permission, we'll begin the PowerPoint.
Yes.
The PowerPoint should actually have the actual emojis in it. That's one of the reasons they did.
At your leisure.
Okay. The phone calls, text messages, and then we'll start with the first slide. This is from the defendant to John O'Keefe. I feel pretty shitty about how this morning went down. I know you said sorry, but it really stung, especially when I've been trying pretty hard lately. I feel like a loser turning around, just coming back over after everything you said. 2:16:10 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, not sure what you want me to do. I said I'm sorry and I was out of line. If you prefer to stay home, I totally get it. 2:17:16 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, things in my own life have been difficult too, you know. 2:17:33 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I know. 2:17:40 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:17:45 p.m., the defendant calls John. The phone call is answered and they speak for 2 minutes, 22 seconds. 2:23:02 p.m., the defendant calls John. That's again answered. At 1:00, and they speak for 1 minute, 2 seconds. At 2:24:17 p.m., the defendant calls John, and the call is rejected. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, tell me if you're interested in someone else. Can't think of any other reason you've been like this. 2:25:18 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, nope. 2:25:33 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, things haven't been great between us for a while. Ever consider that? 2:26:03 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:28:40 p.m., the defendant calls John. That call is rejected.
Mr. Greeno, can you explain to us the difference between not answered and rejected?
Yes, so if the call is not answered, that means the call rang out and goes to voicemail. If the call is rejected, that is someone actively hitting the send to voicemail button to disable the call, to stop it from ringing. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, kids are here, not in the mood to talk. 2:29:03 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, so you're not into it anymore. That's fine, but I don't want to keep trying and you keep treating me like this. 2:29:12 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm trying to hug and kiss you this morning and you whack me in the face with a pillow. 2:29:59 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, last night you're basically like, yeah, what about when we talk about the future? So why don't you just admit you're not into so much anymore? 2:30:23 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, not how it went down, but okay. 2:30:26 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please admit your head is out of the game with us? 2:30:52 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, sick of always arguing and fighting. It's been weekly for several months now. So yeah, I'm not as quick to jump back into being lovey-dovey as you apparently. 2:32:28 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:32:47 p.m., the defendant calls John. That call is rejected. John O'Keefe to the defendant, OMG, stop calling. 2:32:54 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, then why would you start with me this morning? 2:32:58 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you're setting me up to fail. 2:33:05 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you started a number of fights from your end. 2:33:26 p.m. on the 28th. And John O'Keefe to the defendant, I've explained it a few times already, not doing it again. 2:33:31 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, so you're not into this anymore. 2:33:41 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, not into fighting all the time, correct. 2:34:03 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, if you tell me you're interested in someone else, you will never hear from me again. You can have all the space in the world. 2:34:11 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, he sends an emoji.
Now that's
2:34:19 p.m. on the 28th.
Emoji.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, then stop starting with me. 2:34:20 p.m. on the 28th. 2:34:29 p.m. the defendant calls John. He rejects the call. John O'Keefe to the defendant. I'm not answering. Stop calling. 2:34:42 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please answer after how you treated me earlier? 2:34:43 p.m. on the 28th. 2:34:54 p.m. the defendant calls John. That's rejected. John O'Keefe to the defendant. Kaylee is right here. 2:35:02 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. You start a rager with me out of nowhere and then tell me you're sick of fighting with me. 2:35:41 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. I'm going to grab a drink in a bit. 2:38:14 p.m. on the 28th. 2:38:42 p.m. the defendant calls John. That call is rejected. The defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please answer? 2:38:52 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, no Karen, not sure why you need to announce that you're going, not sure why you need to announce that you're grabbing a drink, but have fun. 2:39:46 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, seeing if you want to meet me later. 2:40:22 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please call me? 2:40:32 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, have to take them to the doctor. He has practice. 2:40:55 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, 5 minutes. 2:41:17 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:43:01 p.m., the defendant calls John. It's not answered. At 2:43:45 p.m., the defendant calls John. The call is rejected. John O'Keefe to the defendant. My father just walked in. 2:43:58 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. Okay, can you please call me for 2 minutes? 2:44:14 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant. Not right now. 2:44:23 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe. I'm there when anyone else needs me. 2:44:26 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:45:32 p.m., the defendant calls John. The call is rejected. The defendant calls Mr. O'Keefe. Yes, John, you gave me utter grief this morning. I'd like you to call me for amends.
So everything
2:46:16 p.m. on the 28th.
Everything we've seen in this PowerPoint so far took place in half an hour.
The defendant to John O'Keefe. I've been trying to get over the hump with is arguing, and now you tell me you're not into doing things. and you don't want to fight weekly, but fly off the handle at 8 a.m. with me, like you're setting me up to fail. 2:47:08 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, I've been dealing with my own personal crisis over things I have zero control over. I'd like to lean on you too sometimes. Instead, I just hear everything I've done wrong. 2:48:34 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:56 p.m., the defendant calls John. The call is rejected. At 2:51:13 p.m., the defendant calls John. It's rejected. 2:52:37 p.m., John calls the defendant. It's not answered. At 2:53:56, the defendant calls John. Again, not answered.
John didn't call the defendant that way.
The defendant, John O'Keefe, you seriously cannot pick up the phone for 2 seconds. 2:54:13 p.m. 2:58:05 p.m., the defendant calls John. It's rejected. At 2:59:13, John calls the defendant. The call is answered and they speak for 4 minutes, 59 seconds. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, why don't you meet me at Hillside at 4:30/5, 3:08:55 p.m. John O'Keefe to the defendant sends an emoji at 3:10:08 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or whenever you get everyone settled, 3:10:35 p.m. on the 28th.
And this is the hour mark.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, like I said, doctor now, and he has practice till 6. If you want to go start drinking, then go for it. 3:36:21 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I didn't know the times of his practice. 3:36:40 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I just want to give you space at the house without me there. So rather meet you out than meet at the house. 3:37:01 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, yeah, well now there's a 72-year-old taking up shop on my couch. 3:37:36 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, that too. 3:37:46 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, is he going to Collins? 3:38:23 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, not tonight. 3:38:32 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, so do you plan on going out tonight? 3:39:01 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, Karen, I don't know. 3:39:17 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, you're like jonesing to drink, so go. 3:39:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, well after how this morning went down, I don't think I need to be back over there with you get frustrated at how I am with the kids. Has nothing to do with drinking. 3:40 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I am paranoid now that everything I do with them is problematic, so rather see you for a minute without it, kids around. 3:40:24 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, what's your plan? At 4:47:16 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, don't have one. 4:50:09 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, so still home. 4:50:26 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, yes, 4:50:45 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, we just got home, waiting to see what Papa decides here or else I have to get Patrick at 6. 4:59:45 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, 5:01:55 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, so are you staying home or coming here? 5:02:23 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, waiting to see what you end up doing. I don't want to hang out at the house too much, like I said. 5:03:40 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I think it's clear me around the kids, I think it's clear me around with the kids around is slowly killing our relationship, and our relationship is much more important to me. 5:04:16 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, well, there's a blizzard coming, so we'll be inside all weekend. 5:04:19 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, it will be over by noon tomorrow. 5:04:44 p.m. on the 28th.
Just a little
John
bit.
O'Keefe to the defendant, don't think so. 5:05:27 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't want to keep having this constant conflict of the dynamic of the four of us. The harder I try, the more it kills our relationship as a couple. It feels like utter shit to be in that position. Rather just meet you out for drinks when you figure out what your night looks like. 5:06:45 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, well, I have no idea what's going on, so do what you want. 5:07:34 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, need to figure out what everyone here is doing. All I know now is Madeline is coming over. No clue about Patrick yet, or if Papa is planning on hanging it for a few more hours. 5:09:29 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, well, when you know the story and if you want me to come up, let me know. 5:12:36 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, no, Karen, you decide what you want to do. 5:13:18 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I know your heart isn't in this anymore. I felt it for a while and especially lately. I'm willing to try more, but not if you approaching the point of indifference. If you want me to come up and you can head out for a while, then say so when you know what your father is doing. 5:14:23 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, you come up and I head out, really? Emoji. 5:15:48. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I've told you already, I don't bounce back as quickly as you do after we have a battle. 5:16:52 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, no, head out together with an emoji. 5:17:49 p.m. on the 28th.
So that's 3 hours of texting and calls.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or meet out. 5:17:54 on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, gonna send Patrick to Collins tonight. They're picking him up around 7. Mike may hang out too when he brings Matt over. So why don't you just come over? 5:19:42 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, Mike doesn't want to go out for a bit. 5:20:20 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I would like to, been a shit day from the jump. 5:20:33 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, probably 5:20:39 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I just got sober an hour ago. 5:20:56 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'll text you, hang with Mike for a few. I don't need to butt in. Text me if/when you think you may head out. 5:25:12 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, can you send me Tim Zoll's contact info, please? 5:26:38 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I paid the last bill. 5:27:08 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you didn't have to do that, thanks. 5:27:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, are you really not going to accept my friend request? 5:32:33 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji on what, FB? 5:33:01 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, we've been going out for 2 years. 5:33:20 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I haven't gone on. You defriended me over a year ago, I believe. 5:33:48 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, Carrie texted that they're headed out in a bit. 6:05:29 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, okay, 6:14:55 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, she's going to let me know where, 6:17:51 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, so you're going to meet them, 6:18:12 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, just presenting it as an option, wouldn't mind hanging out with them for a drink. 6:19 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, is Mike over? 6:27:26 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, yes, 6:29:45 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, sounds you're like good with getting together tonight, 6:31:32 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, was hoping after this morning you'd be interested in smoothing things over with me, 6:32:24 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, told you to come over but you insisted on meeting me out somewhere, 6:33:44 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, Mike is a little off with me for a while now. I've said that multiple times, 6:34:34 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to Karen, the defendant, time to get over it, Karen. He's fine. He was fine the other night when he came by.
He doesn't like to call her
6:38:09 p.m. on the 28th.
The witness wants to call her defendant all the time.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, wouldn't mind hanging out with other people, like another female too. 6:39:09 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, where are you meeting them? 6:39:28 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't have plans with them. She just said they're headed out in a bit and will text when they land somewhere. 6:39:52 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, if you want to go out with Mike solo, that's fine. Just let me know. 6:40:17 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I already told you what you should do. Not going to keep doing this. 6:41:07 p.m. on the 28th.
The Mike they're talking about was the prior witness.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I asked to let me know if you guys are going to head out. I haven't been out for drinks this week and had a shit week and a shit day. And I dread Kaylee or Pat is going to get chatty with me the second I walk in, and that is going to irritate you. 6:43:21 on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, Pat is leaving, Kay is with Mad Cam. 6:44:02 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I'll text Chris then. 6:46:44 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, we're headed out shortly. What's your plan, Karen? 7:06:13 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, do you want me to join or no? 7:06:37 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, yes, wasn't sure if you were meeting the Currans. 7:07:04 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, they are not out drinking yet. 7:07:40 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, where are you headed? 7:09:22 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, trying to decide maybe McCarthy's. 7:14:48 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay then, let me know where you decide. I'm still down in Enfield. 7 7:21:50 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, text me when you leave, still waiting on McKinney's, 7:22:28 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm having issues with my hot water, so had to text someone to take a look, 7:24:11 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji, you trying to piss me off, 7:25:35 on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, hope your plumber buddy that you texted is hot, 7:26:24 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, nope, my shower only got lukewarm and now my sink won't run hot at all. The plumber I used to use is right down the road, 7:26:27 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I turned that temp thing in the basement all the way up, 7:26:52 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, check the hot water heater and see if it's leaking, 7:26:52 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, it's not, 7:26:59 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, don't do that, 7:27:01 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, is the pilot lit, 7:27:08 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I was trying to get my shower hot, 7:27:12 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yes. 7:27:14 p.m.
Yes,
on the
the
28th.
pilot's lit. Don't do it was turn it all the way up.
From John O'Keefe to the defendant, don't turn it up. Don't turn it all the way up. 7:27:26 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, it will burn out. 7:27:32 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I had this issue twice before and it wasn't a disaster. I just can't remember what the cause was. 7:27:41 on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, just turn it back to where it was and get over here. 7:28:08 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't want to come home in a blizzard and then really be up shit creek. 7:28:53 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, so you're going home tonight, 7:29:18 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, or tomorrow or whenever. I've had a chill all day since my shower. 7:29:45 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, it's going to snow all day tomorrow, no driving, 7:30:05 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, we're headed to McCarthy's, 7:41:29 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, let me know if you end up leaving, 7:41:57 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, why? Now you're not coming, 7:42:27 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm waiting for the plumber. I actually think he's in the driveway, 7:42:56 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, we're taking Mike's car, so I'm relying on you for a ride home if he leaves, 7:43:10 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, he's not going home after, 7:43:27 p.m. on the 28th.
That was a question.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, 8 o'clock on a Friday, emoji, 7:43:31 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, he may have to get Michael, 7:43:46 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, you have a plumber coming over at 8, knowing me and Papa could have handled it. Good luck, 7:44:36 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I have always told you I will not put either of you out of your way the way everyone else in your life does. I knew it wasn't working right when you were at the doctor's with Kaylee, and I knew neither of you could get here. And this guy, Richie, fixed it last time, whatever it was. He was supposed to be here at 5. 7:48:01 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, if it's not a quick fix, I'll tell him to forget it. 7:48:20 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, if you need a new water heater, don't let him do it. 7:55:04 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant text is from the defendant to John O'Keefe. He's here now. If it's not quick, I'm not doing it. I just want to make sure nothing is wrong / will go wrong with when I'm not home. 7:55:44 on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, he's not a scammer. Half the quick stuff he doesn't even charge me for. 7:56:06 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, he just put the toilet seats on crooked. 7:56:28 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, status 8:09:02 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, still here with an emoji, 8:09:18 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, said he's got to go to HD and probably be back mañana, 8:23:56 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, so 8:24:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, an emoji, 8:25:02 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, just trying to figure out if I need to be here, 8:25:51 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, what does it need, 8:26:01 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I don't know. He showed me some pieces that was all rusted with an emoji. I don't understand half this stuff. 8:26:42 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, on the water heater, 8:26:59 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yes, 8:27:08 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, tell him to leave it. I'll take care of it Sunday or Monday, 8:28:30 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, no, it's okay. I can either meet him here or just shut off the alarm, 8:28:52 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, he used to work here while I was at work, 8:29:02 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, does he realize it will be whiteout conditions tomorrow a.m., 8:29:32 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, yeah, but he lives right down the road, 8:29:47 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, Karen, this storm is going to be intense. Can't drive, 8:30:19 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, okay, well, if he can't, he can't, 8:30:36 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, I'll do it Monday, 8:30:56 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I better not still have this problem on Monday, 8:31:22 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, you plan on being there, 8:31:43 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'd to know I can take a hot shower there here if I need to, 8:32:14 p.m. on the 28th. Figured you'd be, from John O'Keefe to the defendant, figured you'd be in Canton until Monday, 8:32:32 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, I'm getting off my phone. Let me know what you're doing, 8:32:54 p.m. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I think the four of us together is toxic to this relationship. Would like to limit it, 8:33:16 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, you said so yourself for probably a year now, 8:33:52 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, blizzard tomorrow, nobody is going anywhere, 8:33:56 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, maybe I'll come back late tonight. Bad snow is in the early a.m. 8:35:14 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, I'll head up there in a few min. Let me know if you leave. 8:35:26 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, an emoji. He says, sure. 8:35:34 p.m. on the 28th. And that was the last of them.
So about 6 hours and 15 minutes of interaction there.
We're almost done, sir.
And you can feel free to stand.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
So that presentation is a compilation of text messages and phone calls between John O'Keefe and the defendant on January 28, 2022.
Yes, that was.
Aside from that compilation, are there other text messages and phone calls that you've reviewed between John O'Keefe and the defendant that evening, January 28, 2002, going into past midnight, January 29, 2022?
Yes, there's more text messages.
And those text messages and phone calls, are they a separate compilation from this?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, this time I'd ask us to release Trooper Garino and recall him at a later date.
Yes. All right. There's no objection, Mr. Alessi, correct?
No objection, subject to the
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, Trooper. We'll see you another time.
So once again, he avoids cross, but he will be back. There will be a point where he has.
Is this the time for me to see counsel at sidebar?
You'll have a little
Okay.
exhibits, Your Honor, may I?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to introduce exhibits or clips 7 through 11.
Between every witness, this is the pattern the prosecution is showing. They're showing little clips of Karen from interviews.
Thank you.
And they're taking the ones that look the least favorable for her.
With the court's permission, could I begin with clip 7?
Yes.
When you walked out of the bar, how many drinks had you had?
I have had probably about 4, and not 4 that I completed either. I didn't drink maybe more than a few sips at the waterfall.
And 4 drinks you felt fine to drive?
Yep.
Clip 8, please.
Okay.
And is the level of intoxication pretty high here for everybody?
It's happy.
Yeah.
It's
Because you'd had a lot to drink, right?
I wouldn't say I had like a normal amount. Like a vodka tonic every 40 minutes.
Okay. And so are you feeling like buzzed? And I'm not judging, I'm just trying to get a sense.
Buzzed.
Yeah.
Clip 9, please.
The final count of my alcohol intakes, probably about 5 or 6 or 4. The drinks that they were pouring me at McCarthy's, which is where I consumed most of the alcohol, was the weakest vodka tonic. It tasted just like all soda water with lime. Not that I need it to be a martini, but it might have had a splash of vodka in it. So I said, John, this drink tastes like it has no vodka in it. He said, just get a shot and mix it yourself. So each drink was being counted as a double. So I would get a vodka tonic, and then I would pour a shot into it, so that would count as 2. But frankly, it just felt like a regular cocktail. It was just a really weak pour, so I asked for a shot. So for my taste, it just tasted like that's the normal strength of what a drink should be. So I had maybe 2 or 3 that are being counted as 4 and 6. And I don't know. I felt fine. I felt like I was buzzed. And then there was one drink, the last one that was given to me, which I would have counted as 3, but they're counting as my 6th cocktail. The guys that we were with brought around the shots, and they gave me one that I didn't drink, but I poured it in my drink. So that's now my 5th and 6th drinks, with the 7th, which is a shot that all the men did, and I poured it. So that one glass that I'm holding, that I go into the waterfall with, has 3 drinks in it, a vodka tonic and 2 shots. And which is why John said to me, you're not leaving that drink here, like you haven't touched it and just poured a bunch of vodka. He's like, just take it with you, which was something he always did. So then I go into waterfall, and I put that drink down and I socialize most of the time. So that would have been my 5th, 6th, and 7th drinks. Then John orders me a drink at the waterfall that I don't drink, that he takes with him. And then there was a round of shots that Chris Howard bought that I did take. So that would have been the night. But I did not consume 9 vodka martinis or take 9 shots, depending on how you count it. And the last 2 drinks I didn't touch.
Clip 10, please.
I mean, I'm not as clear as I would be if I hadn't been drinking. I mean, I had drank, so, and that led me to question, like, could I have hit him? Did I run over his foot or hit him in the knee? Did I incapacitate him? I mean, I always drive with my music blasting ever since I was 16. And I know when John got out of the car to go into Fairview, I know my car was blasting because when I got in it the next morning to go look for him, I had to immediately turn it down. And I don't know, it's stormy. I have had a few cocktails. I didn't black out, but I wasn't as lucid as I would have been if I had gone to bed at 9 and drank a tea. But so I was fuzzier than I would have been if I had had no alcohol.
Clip 11, please.
How did you feel after that many drinks? When you got in the car, did you feel like you could drive? And did you feel how
I wouldn't have gotten on the expressway. I wouldn't have gotten on the expressway at 12:15 on January 29th. I mean, it was quiet. The roads were very quiet. You can see it on the videos. And I was going, you know, when I've had a few drinks and I drive, I always drive extra slow. So I know my alerts aren't as sharp as they should be. But I shouldn't have been driving. But I don't think I was driving. I know I wasn't driving recklessly. I mean, I've got plenty of video of myself driving all over the place. I put my car in John's garage, which is incredibly narrow, and I had a very oversized SUV. You see me. There's a video of me driving through the intersection when we leave Waterfall to go to Brian Albert's, and I was always taught by my father, even when you have a green light, you always should tap the brake. You don't know who's going to run red. And I see me doing that multiple times between 12 and 1 and 5 and 6 a.m. So I know I was driving safely, not as safely or as alert as I would be if I had no alcohol. But I was not driving recklessly by any measure.
Thank you. Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
All right, so while the approach, the question was asked by Oatmeal here in Super Chat. Thank you, by the way, for that. Why can these be played in court? Why is the prosecution allowed to just play these videos? The reason they can is this is a statement by party opponent, the defendant, and it goes against interest. This is something that she said that they are allowed to introduce as evidence. The defense cannot introduce these, even if there was another clip they wanted to play, because that would be her testifying without taking the stand. If they want her testimony to come in from any of these, she will have to take the stand and do it. There might be a way they could get some of the information in by talking about maybe to Gretchen Voss and asking about another part of the interview, but even that is calling for hearsay, an out-of-court statement. If they want it in, she's going to have to take the stand. This is a smart move by the prosecution, but they're clearly picking the parts of these videos out that make her look the worst.
All right, jurors, there was some confusion with counsel regarding witnesses. So those are the witnesses for today, so we're done for today. Counsel assures me that won't happen again, but More importantly, we're on track. We're on schedule, not going for the rest of the day. Won't interfere with our schedule at all. It looks like it's, I can't tell with all the curtains here, but it looks like it's a beautiful day. You'll have a nice afternoon. Tomorrow we'll be going on a view. So for that, we're comfortable clothes. We'll be walking around a little bit. We'll be going by bus, and I'll have more instructions for you tomorrow morning. But please follow those instructions. Do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know. And we'll see you tomorrow morning. Remember, tomorrow's a holiday.
All rise for the court, please. Close your notebooks and follow me.
All right, so we're just trying to figure out what's going on here. The prosecution screwed up and didn't call any witnesses. Tomorrow is a view. We might not get any court, anything going on. I think there's going to be a little bit of argument in court, some stuff that we have to sort out with the judge once the jury's gone, that she said she'd address at the end of the day. We'll be getting to that in just a second. But this is a interesting development. We might be nearly done with testimony for the week right now, halfway through Thursday.
Jury is exited the courtroom.
All right. Mr. Brennan, have you had an opportunity to think about whether experts should be permitted to either be present or watch the proceeding? And I also want to know, are you expecting to put on any expert testimony tomorrow?
Dr. Fowler will testify tomorrow. I think that should be considered expert testimony. He provides the procedures and protocol for the testing of blood serum.
Okay.
So I think he's technically considered an expert, although one of the briefer ones.
All right. Does the defense want an expert to be able to watch that?
Yes.
All right. So I know we've had a lot going on this morning. Do you want to address this tomorrow? When do you want to address whether experts should be present?
I can address it tomorrow morning. I can consider
All right. We'll do that. And have you talked about who you all mean? Like, do you all know who you want to have exempt from the sequestration order?
We haven't got to that detail. I'm sure they have in mind who they want. I haven't gotten to that point yet.
All right.
We can have that discussion so that we can present to tomorrow what my position is and address the court on the witnesses.
Sure, we can do that. And then I know you said that you've got an agreement that you'll provide witnesses or a list of witnesses in advance to defense counsel, and I'm sure you'll provide witnesses in advance to Mr. Brennan. Include me on that, please. I'd just like to know who's coming up the next day because I have to prepare as well.
Happy to. Thank you.
Okay? All right. So we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Thank you again.
All rise.
All right, with that, we're done for the day, believe it or not, in the Karen Reed trial. A couple things about the video clips they just played of Karen Reed. A lot of comments, and I mean, there are memes all over the internet about this. It appeared to be very common to and acceptable in the local community to allow drinking and driving with some level of intoxication. I say that because everybody appeared to have been doing that. Hello? Did I miss a call? I did. We've got police officers who did that. Some got reprimanded. We've got various participants in this trial and witnesses that will admit to going and drinking and having a few beers or a few White Claws or whatever it is, and then drinking. And we hear Karen in her testimony say, like, you know, it depends on your count. It was 3, it was 6, it was 7. But I still felt okay to drive. I wouldn't have taken the freeway. I still felt okay to drive. I think nationally, the sentiment towards drinking and driving is a little bit harsher than the local Canton idea. But Karen is being tried by a jury of her peers there in Canton, or assuming that she's, you know, a member of Canton. I realize they look at her as an outsider a little bit, but it's possible that the jury might look at that and think that's okay. Where some of us from other walk of life might look at that and say,
Angela.
That's not right. Angela, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. That was fun and interesting at the end. They had to stop.
Yeah.
But those messages seriously, if that's her motive to kill him, I mean, really? And me and my friend are both watching this trial, and we have an interesting relationship. And I told him, like, word for word, hope MSP and Commonwealth does not read our chat. They would be surprised. How are we both still alive and did not unalive each other yet?
Yeah, it's. I think Lady Draconis was saying in chat, I'm hearing these text messages in a new light this time I hear them. And I did as well. It's having seen the whole picture and now going back and hearing these text messages, I don't see the same level of problems that I might have seen during the first trial. Saying like, whoa, what's going on here? You've got John, who clearly is not up for an argument. Right? He's like, I don't want to fight about this. We've fought about this before. I don't want to talk to you right now. We've got Karen, who's like, we need to work this out. We need to talk. And so you've got that going on one part. You've got Karen saying, you need to tell me what you want to do, because I don't want to come over there and have it be a problem. And I've been spoiling the kids, and when we're all together, it becomes an issue because I spoil the kids. Like, stop spoiling them, and that's not good for our relationship. So we just I'll just stay here or not come over, or do you want to go out, or what's up? And the fact that this conversation stretched over 4, maybe 6 hours, it's a lot. It's a lot of text, but most couples probably have a similar type setup, although with different topics, of an issue that comes up, and it's like, look, we've talked about this before. We disagree. I don't want to talk about it. And like, well, we need to work this out. It seems like this was not. It didn't seem like it was like end of relationship stuff, even though they did talk about the status of the relationship, saying, are you just not into it anymore? That's sort of like an ultimatum that probably gets thrown around a little too easily. But I don't know.
But what would her incentive be to kill him? Like, she is independent both economically and everything else, and he is independent both economically and everything else. They have like whole independent lives. So if they broke up, no hurt, no fault.
Yeah, it's
so it's.
I don't know. I would say they were arguing, but this was not a fight. This was not like I'll see you in court, I'm cutting my lawyer type thing. It was, there were some little petty bits in there. They're like, are you gonna like me on Facebook? And he's like, well, you unliked me a year ago. We had a fight a year ago, and you unliked me then, so why would I do it again? Some little petty stuff interjected where nobody wants to say what the other one's doing. They want the other person to make a decision. Well, do you want me there or not? Well, what are your plans? You tell me your plans first. They were having a spat, is what I saw in that. Nothing that would indicate any sort of premeditation on any front for some nefarious act later in the night. But there will be more texts, and the spat gets more serious. The accusations, the wording gets a little more serious. Maybe it's, well, alcohol consumption goes up, the conversation goes down. But we'll see what happens. So.
Speaking of alcohol goes up and what she said, I have a friend who loves vodka soda, and I asked her for a name of that, because just Googling vodka soda does not help narrow things down on Google. So I asked her, is there a name for vodka soda drink? There is. Skinny B word is the name of that drink. In some circles. In the U.S. might be another name, but here it's Skinny B word.
I've always been amazed at the different words they have for alcoholic drinks. I just found out that never mind. So it's weird. I won't go there. Sorry.
Yeah. And there is a whole backstory as to why it's called Skinny B word, but if you're interested, look it up. If not,
it's a light
it doesn't
drink,
matter.
Right?
But
it's inferred that it's a light
drink.
A light beverage. It's not, a shot of whiskey, right?
Yeah. Well, not that light. It has 5% alcohol. So it's a little higher than light beer. So no wonder she said it's a weak drink. Of course it's a weak drink. Even when you mix it yourself, it's like around 5%. And bartenders, from following a bartender on YouTube. Grina.
I'm sorry. That is terrible, greeters. I'm going to time you out.
Okay, but so she you from following another bartender on YouTube. Folk probably know who I'm talking about. She told me that she's actually lives in the same state as you, I believe, or one of the Carolinas she lives in.
The good one or the bad one? North Carolina or the bad one?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding. Okay, Carolina.
I don't know. One of the Carolinas. One of the Carolinas. And she said that there's whole set of rules, especially that Carolina has for bartenders when it comes to pouring drink, and they have to be painstakingly right, especially when pouring and mixing drinks.
Oh yeah, there's legal ramifications if you mix them wrong. If you're putting too much in, you could be liable for something that happens, or the customer goes out and drunk driving. You're like, hey, you mix his drinks heavy. You intentionally, because basically the idea is that the customer knows their limits, and they order a single drink, and you make it a double without telling them. Suddenly they think I'm good to drive because I know I'm one keeps me under the limit. I've tested. I know I'm great. They've got a double now. And it's different, so the liability transfers there.
Yeah, and that's why even if Google says it's 5%, and that also means that by Google I mean apparently you can buy skinny B word in the stores somewhere around here. I don't know about the U.S. So already pre-mixed and in can. I don't know about the U.S. And it says it's 5%. So even pre-mixed, and if you mix it yourself, it's the same alcohol levels. So the same friend that I said about earlier, we had we both love to do experiments. We had this crazy idea. Warning, do not do this at home unless you are about 21. We had this crazy idea. How many skinny B words can we drink before we get drunk?
Is it true that you drown first before you get drunk? that joke's made about Utah beer.
Yeah.
Utah's like 3% or something like I forget what it is, but the joke is you'll drown before you get drunk drinking beer in Utah. But
my point being is that she said it herself. It's weak drink, and I don't know how many. It's just important. According to Google, it is very possible that she might have not even been maybe beginning stages of booze.
There's also the idea that if she drank regularly, which seems to be one of the activities that was quite popular in the area, that you can build up tolerances of sort, that your body does handle it better than somebody who has never had that level of alcohol before and experiences it for the first time. So, if she was drunk or drank to that extent on a regular basis, it's possible that it might not have had the same effect to her as somebody else who's looking at it saying, wow, that's a lot, might have had on them.
Yeah. Answer to Spotlight, yes, vodka has 40%, but this is a mixed drink, so alcohol content is a bit different than just vodka. Yeah. She said, but yeah. So that's fun. I am looking for. Well, tomorrow might not be at all. We'll see what's going to happen.
We're going to have at least some expert testimony tomorrow from the state. We've got the one expert.
Yeah.
So you said you were going what?
I am not happy with Judge Bev allowing that video because and I think that's like a step into the worst case scenario. If she gets convicted, that can be used to overturn it because that should not have been showed.
I wish I could hear what the defense's rationale was on why they are not asking for the complete video to be played in context, or at least a larger portion in context to get the bigger picture. Because oftentimes it does sort of change the meaning of what we've heard, these little clips. Why would they? It could be strategic, and maybe they can go at the end on their case and find a way to fill this out for the jury and say, they wanted to show you this, let me show you this. Maybe there's a way they can do that without her taking the stand. I don't think they can. I think it's a terrible idea for her to take the stand because, quite honestly, Mr. Brennan is a very, very good prosecutor. He's very good at what he does. And I don't think, I mentioned this to Josh last night on Courtroom Confidential. I can't see if Karen, with interviewers in the voluntary interviews she gave to the different media outlets, if she made the statements she did that do sort of look bad on her, right? That don't paint her in the best light. Imagine what comments could be extracted out of her with a talented prosecutor who is driving the narrative and with the force of the law behind you have to answer my question. I think she could get in a lot of trouble testifying on the stand. I think anyone could with that sort of force on the other side of the table from you. So I don't think she'll testify. So I don't know how the state's going to handle this.
I don't think either.
Maybe they'll just focus on the areas of reasonable doubt and focus on the investigation. The Commonwealth has a lot of dirt. They're not going to come out of here without egg on their face, right? You wait till we get to Proctor, wait till we get to the investigation, the text messages they're going to make him read in painstaking detail in front of the jury, like they did last time. They are not going to come out of here smelling like roses either way. So maybe the defense just thinks that's enough.
Don't forget that the new reconstructionist, he taught Trooper Paul. He was Trooper Paul's teacher.
Yeah.
Also, there was some case back in the day, 2012, where he did his crew reconstructionist, the reconstruction, and someone went to jail. It was wrongful conviction, and it was appealed, and they won on the appeal. It was thrown out. The charges was out. Like, the reconstruction was completely bullshit. Sorry for my BS. Sorry.
Yeah.
And he was at fault. Yeah. He was at fault because it was whoever decided. There is actually in the writing that he was at fault for that. So I think the defense has that case, and I hope they use against the new the reconstructionist at some way. I don't know if they can introduce bad acts of the witnesses, but somehow to introduce,
If they have something like that to bring in, it has to get past the judge first. And this judge has been very restrictive in what she allows the defense to bring in of that nature. She's already restricted their ability to even talk about a third-party culprit. They can't even mention ARCA yet until we get through the hearing that's going to come on Monday, which will be spicy because the judge is going to be the one asking questions there, and she is not happy with the situation already. So there's a couple hurdles the defense will have to get through, but Mr. Alessi's been really good at being able to get something in that the judge doesn't want. His ability to argue, particularly his ability to argue with Judge Cannoni, I've been impressed with. And she'll want to shut him down and not let him argue about something, and he'll get to. He'll work his way around it, and the way he does that is masterful. And so I think if that time comes, he might be the one that makes the argument and gets little pieces in that the defense sees that they need. But good stuff. This is going to be an amazing case. We've got crazy, wild, weird, and just nuts witnesses that are going to be testifying. And I say that just because the content of their testimony is going to be just amazing. Their claims of butt dials and things like that are, I would say, beyond belief. We've got some of that coming up. We have incredible lawyers on both sides for direct and cross-examination, and it's going to be spice all the way through it. Every day so far, they brought the heat, and today was no exception.
Yeah.
Mr. Yannetti, starting cross, just smacked the witness between the eyes with some questions. Forced him to say yes or no, even when the judge told him, don't, you quit telling the witness that. He used, Judge, you tell him that. And she had to. And she's like, "Yep, answer the question." I mean, it's been spicy. It's been great. It's been a little bit of bullying. I mean, depending on which side you see this, it looks like it's bullying. Other people say that's just defense job. You've got a hostile witness. You have to push through that bias. But I'm here for it, all of it. Angela, thank you very much.
I am here too.
Anything
Thank
else?
you. Bye bye.
Yep, we'll see you.
No.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, and we had a great, well, I guess it's all a matter of perspective. We had a great prank call today about travel credits and other things. But that wraps it up for today. It's Thursday. We have a podcast tonight. Maybe we take a lunch, do a little court hopping in the afternoon. What are you guys up for as far as that's concerned? Mark Salt, Greeners. Oh man, it was only a half a day today. Half a day. We're going to do a half a day tomorrow as well. But tonight we have the podcast at 8 p.m. That's going to be with Thomas. I'm looking forward to getting back on schedule there because we missed him last week. Then Friday, I've got the last of my gigs. I actually don't have any more gigs lined up outside of YouTube. I don't have anything else lined up aside from a Lego build, which will be a week from Saturday with Valhalla Awaits. That'll be on this channel and his channel. We'll dual stream that one. And, yeah, it's a great time to get caught up doing some chores, have the afternoon off. I think we can do that because I can work on the bathroom a little bit. And Mrs. Ray would greatly appreciate that. And I think my sons would as well. They've been doing all the work without me. But that said, we've come to the lunch hour. May 3rd. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I'm going to have fun building a Lego set. So it's going to be good. There will be court tomorrow. Yes, it will only be half a day, probably first thing in the morning. We know that the jury is going on a view at some point, so there might be some testimony, and the jury goes on a view, and then they're sort of done for the afternoon. So plan on another short day tomorrow. If you need something, doctor's appointments, shopping, whatever it is, get it in Friday afternoon, because Monday you will not want to miss. Monday starts with the ARCA hearing, or at least there will be an ARCA hearing on Monday. It might be Monday afternoon, but you'll want to be here for that. That's going to be the judge showing her full colors, and she's going to have to make a decision because it's crunch time when it comes to that. This isn't something she can just sit on and wait till later. Defense needs to know they can use it. Prosecution needs to know if it's coming to hit them between the eyes. So a decision will have to be made. All right, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again tomorrow morning, same time, same place, 8:30 for day 4. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Day 4 of the trial. This concludes day 3 with just one part today. Nothing after lunch. We might do some court hopping though, but don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. If you see a notification pop up, come join us. But I'm going to do a little work for Mrs. RA around the house, and we'll have a half a day tomorrow as well. Podcast tonight at 8 p.m. Be there. Don't miss it. It's going to be great. You guys have a good day. We'll see you. Bye-bye.